Omaha Exarban Knights would be in the home stretch. And like a fine thoroughbred, the Knights know how to finish. They've set a blistering pace in the last month and a half, winning 13 of their last 16 games. Now the only thing to do is secure a spot in the Calder Cup playoffs. They can take another step toward achieving that goal tonight. It's a West Division battle as the Exarban Knights host the Milwaukee Admirals next.
Live from the Civic Auditorium in downtown Omaha, Cox Sports presents Omaha Exarban Knights Hockey. Tonight's game also brought to you by Allegiant Health, First National Bank, the Nebraska Lottery, OPPD, Hilton Omaha, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska, Doubletree Hotel, Grubb & Ellis Pacific Realty, Rotella's Bakery, Subway, Complete Nutrition, and Cox Communications. Now let's go ringside for Dave Allers and Joe Clark.
Two months ago, the Omaha Exarban Knights didn't look much like a playoff team. Tonight, they look everything like a team that can make a lot of noise once the postseason begins. Joe, 13 wins in their last 16 games. How have the Exarban Knights done it?
You know, they've done it a lot of different ways, but the players have really bought into the coaching staff system. And the bottom line is, though, they've gotten great goaltending. Brent Cron has been one of the best goalies in the entire AHL for a good month and a half now. And they're not a team that scores a lot of goals, so when he's playing well, they're going to win the majority of their games.
The Milwaukee Admirals roster got quite a makeover at the NHL trade deadline, but for the Exarban Knights, it was a move, Joe, that they made a month earlier that has really paid some dividends for them. That's the addition of A.J. Baines.
Yeah, A.J. is one of the classier guys that you'll ever come across, but, you know, he's been through a lot of wars, and he's played a lot of games in the American Hockey League, but his personality fits in very well in their dressing room, and his stable play on the ice, you know, it just does so much for this team, especially at this stage of the season.
For all the changes that they have had, one constant has been Darren Hadar. He has been small in stature, but he has really carried a lot of the offensive load for the Admirals.
Yeah, you know, he's only one of two guys that have played in every single game for Milwaukee this year. He's got 25 goals, 49 assists. You know, like you said, he's not a very big guy, but it's amazing a guy with his size has been able to stay healthy the entire year. But he's just been a consistent player on the ice. He plays at both ends of the ice very well.
Well, the Exarban Knights, including tonight's game, have just 14 games remaining in their season, and they've got right now, a 4-point lead over the Iowa Stars for that last playoff spot. Joe, I think what that really sets up is playoff-style games coming down the stretch.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you talk to any coach around, and that's how they prefer it. I mean, every game they go into before the playoffs is going to mean an awful lot, and the Knights have some huge games coming up, this one included. And, you know, that's what fans want to see as well. But coaches and players prefer to play in these games that mean an awful lot.
Well, it was nearly 2 months ago that these teams last met, and surely neither one looks like they did back there on January 18th. Playoff-style hockey, we've got a lot of it coming your way next, so stay with us. Knights hockey is next on Cox.
Some see a mom. We see a hero. A hero who works every day to give her family the life they deserve. At Hearthstone Homes, we offer the most home for the least amount of money in Omaha. Because while building homes is our business, our goal is to help everyday heroes build better lives. Sure, some may see a larger home and a smaller mortgage payment, but we see a larger life and a little peace of mind. Hearthstone Homes. More home, less money.
Why are companies like Creighton University, Omaha Steaks, and Methodist Hospital moving to the fiber optic powerhouse of Cox Business Services? They're moving for customized, scalable solutions, for fault-tolerant redundancy, and for a solid team of local experts with around-the-clock accountability. Cox Business Services, powerful solutions for Omaha's most powerful companies. Join the movement.
Do you have well water that smells like rotten eggs, black and brown staining on fixtures, white buildup on tubs, sinks, and dishes, white, brown, black buildup in your dishwasher? If this is your well water, it's time to call the well water experts from Hague Quality Water. Hague can custom build a system to your problem well water and give you a money-back guarantee.
If your water starts staining and stinking, and you don't like the drinking, it's time to call Hague Quality Water of Omaha and Lincoln.
Performance Performance Toyota Scion, Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge, and Performance Volkswagen, all at one convenient location. The Performance Auto Plaza off I-80 in Harrison. Over 20 acres of new and used Toyotas, Scions, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Volkswagens, and more. All at the Performance Auto Plaza, I-80 in Harrison. 3 great dealerships, one convenient location.
Performance, driven to be the best.
The Performance Auto Plaza, just off I-80 in Harrison.
It's another year of awards for Cox High-Speed Internet. From J.D. Power & Associates, the highest in customer satisfaction among high-speed internet service providers. From PC Magazine, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. From the Daily Nonpareil, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. And from Omaha Magazine, the Best of Omaha for high-speed internet providers 2 years in a row. We'd like to thank our customers. Your satisfaction is our biggest award.
I used to weigh 258 pounds and was very unhealthy.
Hi, I'm Kim, and this is me, 100 pounds later, and now I'm a consultant for Complete Nutrition.
With all the different types of weight loss pills, we know the ones that work. Our approach is getting you the right products and on a better path of good nutrition. Take your health and well-being to the next level.
Talk to a consultant today at Complete Nutrition for a healthier, happier you.
Complete Nutrition.
Why are companies like Creighton University, Omaha Steaks, and Methodist Hospital moving to the fiber optic powerhouse of Cox Business Services? They're moving for customized, scalable solutions, for fault-tolerant redundancy, and for a solid team of local experts with around-the-clock accountability. Cox Business Services, powerful solutions for Omaha's most powerful companies. Join the movement.
The Omaha Exarban Knights have had their share of home games here in the month of March, 9 total to be exact. And Joe Clark, home wasn't always friendly for the Knights, but lately it has been.
Yeah, no, they've put it all together here, especially the month of February. They only lost a pair of games, and they've continued that play right into the month of March. And, you know, like we mentioned before, they've gotten great goaltending. The goal scoring has been spread out. David Moss, however, he's not in the lineup for a little while. It was really hot for a while, but, you know, the way things are going for this team, anyone's going to be able to put it in the net.
Well, there you see Brent Cron. He has been sort of the cornerstone of the Knights' attack. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First for the Milwaukee Admirals, getting it started back on the fence. Sheldon Brookbank and Nathan Lutz will begin, and Chris Durno, Brandon Siegel, and Scott May are up front. And their starting goaltender is Pekka Rinne. We will tell you a little bit more about him as we move along. The starting lineup for the Omaha Exarban they will begin with Adam Party and Steve Bancroft back on the blue line. And up front, it will be Tommy Mackey, Justin Taylor, and Carson Gerben getting it going. And we showed you Brent Cron before as well. Our thanks to Farmhouse Cafe and Bakery, the official caterer of Cox Sports, located at 84th and Grover, for our starting lineups. As you can tell from that shot, this is a police and fire night here, and a lot going on prior to the game. There you see Pekka Rinne. He comes in making his 45th appearance on the year. Rinne 26-15-2, a 2.87 goals against average, a 90.3 save percentage, and 1 shutout. He is a big guy, Joe, and takes up a lot of space in that net.
He sure does. You know, and he's had a little bit of success against the Knights. He's 4-0 and save percentage of .934, I believe, and he's played well. But you know what? All good things must come to an end, and maybe his run of luck against the Knights will end tonight.
Well, at the other end, a guy who is pretty much matches him in stature, and the numbers compare favorably as well. That's Brent Cron. This is his 47th appearance on the year. He is 22-16-6, a 2.5 goals against average, and a 91.2 save percentage. Cron also has 3 shutouts to his credit. He's won 3 straight and has won 11 of his last 14 starts. When you get a hot goaltender like that at this time of year, that means good things.
Yeah, it sure does. You know, the American Hockey League's goaltender of the month in February, and you know what, he's got to be enjoying this year because it's really the first of his pro years that he's played the majority, that he's been the #1 guy. And, you know, goals against average is real solid, 2.5. His save percentage is well over 900. And but he's played. He's a #1 guy, and I think he's thrived on being that go-to guy for this team.
Cron, 22 wins. That is a career high as you look at the West Division standings. The Exarban Knights right now in 4th place, 4 points ahead of Iowa. They've got the last playoff spot right now, but Iowa not going away. They picked up a point in a shootout loss last night in Rochester. The Knights, as you can see, will be skating from right to left here in the first period. Our referee, Dean Morton, steps in for the opening faceoff. It's down, and we're underway with the Knights controlling. Party just added to this team and just arrived here in Omaha not more than an hour or so ago from Las Vegas. He sends it in. This one cleared up the wall by the Admirals. The Knights get back and send in deep. Brookbank shrugs off the check of German, and this one worked to the blue line, but held by Party and worked farther along by Mackey. He'll stoke to the corner. It's Taylor, all wrapped up. A penalty coming up very early on. Delayed call, and the Knights trying to work it to their advantage. German along the far side hanging on. Peters is the new guy out there, the extra attacker with Cron off for that. Here is Mackey now in the far corner. Steps out and shoots, and this one misses the mark. The rebound will come all the way back to the Knights' blue line, where Party will regather once more. Party hands it on up. Here is Peters. Those of you unfamiliar with hockey, as soon as Milwaukee touches this puck, the whistle will blow, and there it is. Dean Morton will send off Scott May, and an early power play, Joe, for the Knights just 49 seconds in.
You know, the Knights have always done a very good job in the offensive zone, cycling out of the corners. They're a really good team along the wall, and, you know, the way the game is called now, if you keep your feet moving when they have the puck on your stick and you're held up a little bit, you're going to get the call from the referee, and that's just what happened to put the Knights on the power play.
The Exarban Knights power play has goals in 5 straight games, an efficiency of 24.4%, and they go to work with Baines, handing it up high. Giordano through traffic, that one wide. Rebound tucked back in front by Baines, and that blocked away by Rene. Baines has it again, yanks it to the end wall, and there is Nystrom. Baines once more setting up, goal line. Nystrom trying to walk out. Good play right on the line by Zanin. Puck still loose in front, and there was McDonald to get a whack at it, but he steered it wide. Darren Hadar will take and scale on back, and Cron out to play it.
They're a real nice combination in the power play. A.J. Baines has been around for a long time, and Carson German, who's a young guy, real hyper sometimes, but a nice compliment out there.
Nice bring it across, but the pass did not come through crisply, and offside is the call. 1:17, I believe, still to go in this penalty. We've got a light out or two here on this side of the scoreboard at the Civic Auditorium. We're a minute and a half into the game. No score, the Knights and the Milwaukee Admirals. This is meeting number 8 of 10 this season. They'll finish off the home-and-home series on Monday in Milwaukee, and then the Admirals will come back here one more time to finish off the season series. Former UNO Maverick Greg Zanin leaves off, and this one pushed out to center ice. Pivko had, but overskated. Giordano will give back on, and here is German around Pivko and into the offensive zone. Holds and fires a pad save. Rebound, score! Mark Giordano wasted no time getting that back on goal, and Rene had not recovered from the first save. It's a power play goal. The Knights lead 1-0.
A big bomb by Carson German, kicked out, but right to Giordano, a one-time snapshot, and I have a feeling that Rene was screened on the play by Zanin because he looked like he never saw it, went right over his left shoulder. And
well, the two roommates hooking up there, Joe. German with the shot, and Giordano taking care of the rest.
The thing I like about Carson German, you know, he's never afraid to take a shot. 5-on-5 or on the power play, and sometimes your teams run into a problem. People don't want to shoot as much.
Well, against this Milwaukee team, this is a good place to be, in the lead early. And the Knights have the lead less than 2 minutes into the first stanza. The puck hops out of play, and we'll get a face-off coming out at center ice.
So I detected a little bit of hesitation when the rebound went all the way out to Giordano, whether or not he was going to take the shot. And it looked like he said to himself, what the heck, let her go. And it wasn't a particularly hard shot, but it was on target.
Peters and Peverly will dig for the draw, and Warren Peters the better on that. Komarniski, Tim Hambley worked it to Loins at center. He's tied up, but Peters will force farther, and here goes Brandon Prust in to force the hand of Rene. Paddled near side, whacked at by Brown, and out to center ice. The bouncer stabbed away by Komarniski. Peters will play back in, but it's the Admirals who take, and Hessler will send out to center ice. Along the far wall, Greg Barber forced to send it back, and here is Hessler again. Hessler down the far wing, and this one worked in by Peverly, poked away from him. Knights cannot get complete control before Komarniski takes and lifts to neutral ice. Lutz will send back, and Hambly gives chase with Peverly hot on his heels. Turn back to the far wall where Loynes waits. Loynes took the bump. On for A.J. Baines, trying to fight it through two. That poked away, and in transition, it's Siegel to lay it in. Palin to it first, around behind, and Couture digs it off the wall. Here is Tim Hambly, the outlet for Tommy Mackey. Mackey will backhand in. The Knights give chase. We've played a little more than 3 minutes here in the first period. The Knights already with a 1-0 lead on the goal by Mark Giordano. Couture leaves off, and now Baines cycling. Far point. It's Palin with a shovel shot, and that one skipped by Rene. May have hit someone in front. Grabbed once more by the Admirals and tossed far side. Caught in the feet of Durno, but worked free, and the Knights will give chase.
You know, one thing the Knights have really become very good at is playing well on the boards, whether it's in their zone or in the offensive zone. They rarely make mistakes now, giving away the puck along the boards.
Puck goes to the Milwaukee bench for a stoppage of play. The Knights come in. We showed you briefly the standings in the West Division. The Knights come in fourth place with a record of 31-25, 2-8. I want to remind you folks, Cox Business Services is proud to introduce unlimited long distance in select markets for the low price of $19.95 per line per month. Ask your representative for details today. Here come the Admirals back in. Knockdown was Prust. Up high, it's Klein. His shot blocked away by Nystrom. It comes right back side of the net, and this one thrown wide by Clausen. Near side it comes, and out to center. It's Zanin back with Prust menacing. Work to the blue line, and this one carried in. 2-on-1. Gamache hooked off the puck. A penalty coming up on the play. Another delayed call on. Gamache out of the corner. Wants to center. Spun around by McDonald. The trailer, the new man coming in, was Zach Stortini, but his shot smothered by Cron. Oh. And you know what? The Knights' power play, or I should say Milwaukee's power play, will not even exist now because of a bad penalty taken after the whistle.
I'm not sure what happened behind the net, but here we see the replay. Quick shot coming in from the right point, and Cron smothers it. No rebound.
Mark Giordano is going off for the Exarban Knights, and following him to the sin bin was Darren Hadar.
Hadar was wrapped up with someone behind the net after the whistle had blown, and he just hooked his skates out from underneath the Omaha player. I didn't get his number, but those are the types of penalties that drive coaches crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, you're on the road, you got a chance to get back in the game a little bit. It's gone.
So 4-on-4 will play for the next 2 minutes. And the Exarban Knights will find themselves up against a very good skating team here in a little extra room. Zanin from a bad angle. The shot smothered by Cron. He'll hang on. Craig Zanin is one of those guys, as we said, a graduate of the UNO Mavericks program, and has turned into a very steady professional.
Yeah, he sure has. You know, whenever he gets the call up to the National League, he's not out of place. The thing I like about him, he's got a great release on his shot.
Zanin getting his first chance to play in the National Hockey League earlier this year when recalled by Milwaukee's parent club, the Nashville Predators. German wedges back into the Milwaukee end, and it's Klein and Zanin combining to get it quickly out to center, but this one overskated, and back on comes German. German knocked off the puck. The Knights get it up high. Here is Regier. Shovels off the glove of Rene. Taylor curling the net. To the forehand fires, and that blocked out of play. And a face-off to come with 1:26 still to go in the 4-on-4.
You can see a habit forming with the Knights already when their defensemen get at the blue line, 5-on-5 or 4-on-4. A lot of wrist shots, just getting the puck from the blue line to the front of the net and see what happens.
Warren Peters, Lynn Loynes, normally they're called upon to kill penalties. Here it's just a regular 4-on-4 shift for them, out with Komarniski and Richie Regier. Peters and now Komarniski at the near point. Tipped on the way through by Peters, but took a little steam out of it, and this one dragged back out to center ice. The pass from Gamache blocked, but he'll get it again in the give and go. Broken up at the line by Peters. Followed, though, by Hessler for the dump in. And Komarniski chases Clausen, putting him well down. Regier will pump it around behind, and here comes Peters carrying on with Loynes. 2-on-3, Peters will dump, and Loynes will chase. It's Hessler who arrives first, but the puck thieved away by Loynes. Loynes yanks back to the end wall. Nathan Lutz to this first. Lutz hooked up, and another penalty coming up on the play. Dean Morton is going to send another night off, but for now it's a delayed penalty, and so Pecorine out for the extra attacker. Now it is 5-on-4. Milwaukee at center. On comes Hessler. Drives and a glove save made by Cron. He'll hang on, and now, Joe, a power play you don't see all that often. The 4-on-3.
No, and it's not a very comfortable one if you're the team that has 3 skaters on the ice. But Warren Peters whistled off for a light hooking. He was all over the Milwaukee defense below the goal line and did not keep his feet moving. Here it is right here. Just gets him a little bit, takes him off the puck, and that's enough.
As soon as you turn your stick over, Joe, and put it into a guy, that's pretty much it. So we'll play 33 seconds of 4-on-3, and then it's a 5-on-4 for the balance. Up high, Libor Pivko. And down the wall, he'll get back from Gamache. Laid across, Zanin holds, Pivko fires off the outside of the net. Pivko jousting with A.J. Baines. Baines able to pop it free. Puck loose. Baines went down, but prevails to get that out to center, and then gets back up, and then is run into by Zanin. Well, Baines a bit vulnerable there with his head down as Gamache brings back on. Simone Gamache leaves. Zanin returns. Gamache juggled it. Loin sweeps in. Now it's 5-on-4. The pass bounced rink wide. Zanin will slug to the end wall. Hadar steers farther along. Gamache will bounce a pass back, and Pivko returns. Hanging on. Gamache down low. Hadar goes up high. Libor Pivko a blast that missed the mark. Zanin with it again with a minute to go in the Milwaukee power play. Gamache working the near side now. Holds and fires, neatly blocked down by Regier, but Gamache will take back again. Regier stays right with him. And here comes Gamache, centering in front, tried for Hadar on the tip, but his wrister missed wide. Loose along the near side and battled out by Richie Regier. Milwaukee forced to peel back to the neutral zone. Knights getting fresh players out there now with 30 to go in the power play. Sweeping in. And the centering feed. Gamache tapped on goal, and the rebound came to Clausen, who scores.
One of the very few times Milwaukee has been able to penetrate right in the heart of the ice on Brent Cron, but the Omaha goaltender had no chance on this one, an empty net goal.
And the goal will go to Greg Clausen, picking up his 23rd goal of the year.
Right here, I think you're going to see the puck deflect off someone's skates, his own skate.
Yeah, actually, that's a good follow-up by Gamache to keep that moving and to find Clausen for the goal. And so just like that, a power play tally will even things up. Each team has scored on its only power play of the game. Simone Gamache, a guy who began the season in the National Hockey League playing for St. Louis and kind of bounced back and forth, was claimed off waivers and reclaimed by Nashville. They got him back, assigned him here, and he's been a big part of filling some of those gaps left by the deletions around the NHL's trade deadline. Knights with it in their own zone. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that Milwaukee is potent on the power play. They scored 4 power play goals last night in their 4-3 win over the Houston Aeros. The Knights are really throwing the beef right now and putting some good licks on. Here is May behind his net, wedging for Rick Barry. Barry up ice, able to get that along for Barber for the deflection back in, and it's Komarniski giving chase. Zenith Komarniski up the near side. Boy, it sounds like a thunderstorm in here right now as bodies flying fast and furious. Bancroft now for Carson German. German tosses through neutral ice and deep into the Milwaukee end. Tracked down by Hessler as he touches the icing call. Will bring the face-off back to the Knights' end.
You know, if both teams are involved with a body like these two teams are, it's actually healthy, especially for the Knights, because, you know, when the Knights aren't on top of their game, it's usually because they're not playing a physical game. But Milwaukee comes out and they're going to start banging around. It'll just kind of make sure the Knights stay into it.
Shots are even at 3. Goals are even at 1 with 11:48 to go. Got some fans who are right into it tonight, and good to see. Bancroft jousting, able to push it away from Hadar. Komarniski hurries around, and Mackey will lift the stick of Lutz so that this puck drifts all the way back. And Rene out to play it for Corey Hessler. Bothered by German, prevails to get it up the wall. And out at center, Hadar. Boy, did he get shoved down by German. The Knights take back. Giordano will angle. Too far for Taylor. And Hessler recoups for Lutz. And along now for Hadar moving in. Darren Hadar a shot. Glove save made by Cron, who hangs on one more time. Brent Cron coming in 6th best in goals against average Joe in the American Hockey League, and that has steadily gone down here in the last month and a half.
You know, it makes a big difference for the guys that are playing in front of him when they know, their goaltender is on top of his game. They can play a little bit more of a freer style, not be quite afraid to take a chance now and then.
Klein up high, looking for traffic in front. The puck never got through said traffic. Nystrom rink wide will send McDonald away. Lined up by Zanin. McDonald around him. Zanin a good recovery to keep McDonald from breaking free, but there is Nystrom, the whirling dervish, to get it to the end wall. Pushed around behind. The steal by Baines. Tried to center for Nystrom. Blocked away. Good play by Klein. Baines has it again and tugs along for Nystrom. Eric Nystrom tied up by Brandon Siegel. The Knights get the puck, but the shot goes wide, and it's Zach Stortini back on it. Work to the blue line at hop past Party. Recovering is Regier. Chris Durno right after him. Regier holding him off for the play out to the neutral zone. Klein will shovel back in. This one rings around, and it's Party keeping it moving. Derek Couture out to center ice, a bit too far for Loins. The veteran Rick Barry got tangled up with a stick. Here comes Peters sweeping in for a shot, and the glove save made by Rene. He'll hang on once more.
Warren Peters almost took advantage of a fluke play with that stick floating on the ice, but the thing that you really want to see is players get shots off quickly. Nice release. Right here you'll see Warren Peters pick up the puck. Doesn't waste any time, but Rene, no problem.
That stick almost turned that puck into a drop pass per se, and that's what gave Peters the scoring opportunity. He'll dig with Peverly and win it. Hambly holding on, looking for an outlet, and finally gets this one on goal. Again, not with much steam. Pekka Rinne, the rookie out of Finland, Nashville's 10th pick, taken in the 8th round back in 2004. And he is, well, the next generation of Nashville Predator.
You remember the day when goaltenders would never be picked in the 1st round or 2nd round or 3rd round.
Yeah.
It's commonplace now.
Of course, Brent Cron at the other end is a 1st round draft pick. As Hadar brings on his pass, poked by Komarniski, forcing him to twist back. And now laid in for Komarniski to give chase to. We've reached the halfway point of the 1st period. The Knights and the Milwaukee Admirals all knotted up at 1. Last time Milwaukee was here, we saw one barn burner of a game won by the Exarban Knights on a late goal by Mark Giordano. Milwaukee has had plenty of success, though, especially in their home rink. The last game was a 4-3 win back on January 19th. Here come the Admirals again looking for more. Pivko will chip it along. Peverly applies the brakes and gives to Pivko. A little tapper, and then ricochets instead to Hambly. He'll get on for German, who brings out to center ice. The pass for Mackey blocked down. Prust got it in. This play is onside. Still loose, and finally dumped into the neutral zone where German takes over yet again. Away from Brown. German moves back in. Pivots away far side. Carson German. Tough pass, but Bancroft handles. Tried to get it down low. That banged away. Mackey able to stoke it along, and now here's German to Prust. Back to Mackey. A shot. Save Rene. Mackey gets the rebound. And for Prust once more. Worked over by Hessler, but able to shrug free. He'll lay back, and here is Carson German with the feet moving up the far side. Carson German rakes back along, and this one a textbook cycle going right now. German picking his spot, lays toward the goal, and that one picked up late by Rene as it went wide. Prust on it again. Poked away from him by Barry, but holding on is Mackey now. Mackey back for Prust. McDonald fresh from the bench, chasing down now behind. A penalty coming up on the play, and this one is going to go against McDonald. We'll tell you more about this penalty when we come back. The Knights and Admirals all tied at 1 from the Civic Auditorium.
Performance Toyota Scion, Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge, and Performance Volkswagen, all at one convenient location. The Performance Auto Plaza off I-80 in Harrison. Over 20 acres of new and used Toyotas, Scions, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Volkswagens, and more. All at the Performance Auto Plaza, I-80 in Harrison. 3 great dealerships, one convenient location. Performance, driven to be the best. The Performance Auto Plaza, just off I-80 in Harrison.
It's another year of awards for Cox High-Speed Internet. From JD Power and Associates, the highest in customer satisfaction among high-speed internet service providers. From PC Magazine, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. From the Daily Nonpareil, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. And from Omaha Magazine, the Best of Omaha for high-speed internet providers 2 years in a row. We'd like to thank our customers. Your satisfaction is our biggest award.
Craig McDonald gets the hooking minor at 11:24, and this is power play number 2 for the Milwaukee Admirals. Joe, one of the things that we talked about in the Knights' rise here in the last month and a half has been the play of Brent Cron, but you also can't ignore the fact that Craig McDonald, coming back from an injury at the beginning of February, has coincided with that as well.
You know, they didn't hurry that injury, didn't hurry him back from that injury, and I think that made a big difference for this team.
Puck battled out to center ice by Peters, who's broken his stick. He gets a new twig from the Knights equipment manager Greg Sieg, and Milwaukee regroups at center. Pivko set in, but off of Giordano and quickly spiked back down by A.J. Baines. Rene to a turning Libor Pivko, hands it on up for Brookbank. His pass off the skate of Mackey, and Pivko will twist once more. Brookbank again looking to advance it. This one off of Clausen, who has their goal tonight. Settled down though by Hadar across Gamache. Gamache broken up, but right to Brookbank. In for a shot. Kick save Cron, and Baines wastes no time clearing that puck. A minute already gone by in the McDonald penalty. Hadar dangles and then to Klein. Klein forced back by Prust. Gives now for Zanin. Cron will send it back up the wall. Nystrom trying to get. He did away from Gamache, and the puck played deep once more. Eric Nystrom is a guy whose penalty killing has really improved, I think, over the course of the year, too.
Yeah, I think he's real comfortable with his role. And, you know, the more ice time a guy like that, a rookie, you know, his pro rookie year, the more ice time he gets, the better he's going to develop.
Durno on the regroup now for Milwaukee, which has 25 seconds to go in this man advantage. Durno advances to the blue line, but only that far. The puck caught in the skates of linesman Brian Pansich. Klein will get again from center and lift in. Regier golfs it up the wall, and this one takes a Knights hop all the way back.
The Knights are doing a nice job in the neutral zone of using their sticks, blocking a lot of passes, and making it hard for Milwaukee to get in the zone.
Durno pinballs it in, and there is Klein sending it back around. The Knights have their man back, and there is McDonald. Oh, the puck just came behind him. Had he been able to take that cleanly, he would have been off to the races. Rene to center, wedged along by Durno, taken back by Hambley for the play in. And once more, Milwaukee will regroup as the Knights finish off a shift change. We've had a good, brisk first period here, 6:15 to go. And Siegel in onside for a rocket that got the glass. Milwaukee now changing, giving Hambley with some room. Stepped into by Stortini, but the puck cleared out. Turned back on. This one a bit too far for May, but he catches up and centers. Bancroft the only guy there, and Steve Bancroft will send Nystrom up the near wall. Nystrom fights it in. The Knights will finish a shift change as well as Nystrom goes in, battling two along the end wall, took it away from Lutz. Good work by Nystrom, looking for the centering feed, but that cut off. And a good sort of nonchalant play by Lutz, but that's all he had to do. Komarniski denies the Admirals any time in the offensive zone as he brings back on around one check. He'll give off now Nystrom. Nystrom a shot, blocked down. Back on, Barber will send it, but this too far for May. And Party retreats to his own zone. Head man for Komarniski and played down the boards. The Knights changing yet again. Shift change is very important here in this game, which is such a skating game when you're playing Milwaukee. Out at center, Derek Couture. Check to the wall, trying to fight his way by. Knocked down, but Loynes sweeps in. Lynn Loynes peeling away and hanging on for a shot that's deflected away. Couture on it now. Derek Couture up the near wall, trying to send back for Peters. He's tied up. Rene out to play it, stripped away from him, and unable to tuck in front was Peters. The blocked puck taken by Couture. Couture cuts into the check of Peverly and cuts back yet again. Derek Couture trying to hold him off along the far side. Cycled down low, but this to a Milwaukee stick for the clear back down. Icing to come as Giordano does the honors on the touch. 4:34 now to go here in the first period. And Joe, both teams playing very well so far.
Yeah, you know, once again, the Knights are playing really well along the boards and just waiting for Milwaukee to make one mistake. And if they do, they're going to be able to pounce to the middle and get a quality shot on goal. But one thing I've noticed, in traffic, Rene just drops to his knees, and I think you're going to see more shots go upstairs on this goalie a little bit.
Face off to come, and it's the Exarban Knights who win it. Regier, hammer shot, trickles in, got through Rene, but wide. There is Taylor again, curling toward the net, got off the shot, not much on it. Rene able to paddle it aside. The steal by Prust, the centering feed though, finds a Milwaukee stick. And Barber sprinting up ice. May can't hit him with a pass. Here come the Knights in transition. Prust trying to bust in. Around his man. Got it to the side of the net before Rene poke checked him. Prust trying to control again, but it's the Admirals who take over. And the headman feed finds Barber. Greg Barber rink wide. Good pinpoint pass. This one sent in wide of Cron. To the near wall, it's Prust who will back it up. And now Giordano will hand it on up for Taylor, and the touch pass for Prust. Played softly, and the Knights will go for the change. 3:45 now to go in the first period. Knights won and Admirals won. The goals from Mark Giordano and Greg Clausen, both on the power play. Puck to the far wall. Pivko stepped under the big hit he knew was coming from Tommy Mackey. Mackey trying to advance it, but now the Knights forced to retreat. Palin a good job to play near side. Bancroft with some room, and he'll lay out to center ice. Baines flips in, chasing is Mackey, joining is McDonald. Centering feed never got to him. McDonald pursues. His pass stolen away by Clausen. And I cannot recall, Joe Clark, a game where we have had this many hits in one period.
Yeah, they're going at it. You know, especially Milwaukee. They played last night, so you wonder, or you're hoping if you're a Knights fan, they may run out of gas at some point.
The Knights last played on the road on Wednesday, a 2-1 win against San Antonio, so they may be the fresher of the teams. Here comes Peters in, holds and shoots this wide. Rebound at the near point. Komarniski had it hop his stick. May fights his way past, but there is Tim Hambley to take over. Komarniski lays it across. Loins foists it along, and Hambley now will send from the red line. It got through Rene and to the near boards. Nystrom in after it. Nearly checked his own man in his zeal. Now it's Loins spinning out for a shot. Save made by Rene. He'll hang on. You know, when you're a goaltender who's 6'4", 6'5", you go down in that butterfly, you can still cover the top half of the net pretty well.
Yeah, you're still a 5'11" goaltender when you go down to your knees, you know, but that's just his style, you know. And I think the Knights know that he does go down in traffic a little bit, but boy, you're right. You can't teach size. This kid's a good keeper.
Remarkably, this is the first game for the Milwaukee Admirals outside of either Illinois or Wisconsin since February 11th. They've had such a condensed home schedule, and the only road games they've played are against Peoria. So, welcome back to Nebraska, guys. Face-off sent deep. Zanin will sling it. Good spike by Regier to get it back to McDonald, and cycled now for A.J. Baines. Baines rubbed out. Sherman poke checked. Milwaukee clearing. Regier after it, and right after him Simone Gamache. They do-si-do away, and it's Hadar with control now. Darren Hadar trying to wrap it in front. That pass banged away, and Carson German will move on with McDonald. German across the line, and offside is called on the play. Good play by Zanin there, Joe.
It really does. You know, Carson German is the type of guy, when he gets the puck in the neutral zone, any of his wingers along with it can pretty much expect that he's going to skate it over the blue line. And nice play by Zanin just to stall him up a little bit, force a little move, draw his line mate offside.
Well, Brian McGill and I have talked about it before, and he says, you know, for Carson to be effective, he has to operate in traffic, keep the feet moving, and get into positions where he can get off a shot, and he certainly seems to be trying that tonight. Yanked to the slot by McDonald, and there is German on it again. He'll hand it on back. Giordano couldn't get his shot through. A broken stick by a Milwaukee player, and a chance for the Knights. Shot on goal, save made Rene. Rebound worked up high. Regier had it tapped out to center. Giordano will send rink wide. The guy with a broken stick, Paul Brown, has that back. Regier trying to advance it. Taylor tied up along the far wall. Kicked it free, though. Loins quickly pinched off. And the Admirals will regroup once more. Down to 1:10 to go here in the first period. 9 shots to 5. The Knights with that advantage where it counts. This game is all tied up at 1. Bancroft, and there is Mackey stepping in. Loins shoulders with Durno, able to dig it out. This puck drifts up high, and it's carried back on by Greg Barber. Barber rink wide. Durno couldn't accept the pass. It's Komarniski fighting him off for the play up the near side. Bancroft hands farther along. Peters couldn't get it out. Brookbank a shot, and this one steered aside by Cron. Komarniski once more looking for the outlet. Will just float this one slowly back down. They're going to wave off the icing. That keeps the clock moving now with just 30 to go here in the first period. Through center, this pass misfires as well, but this time it will go for icing. So a late offensive draw coming for the Knights.
You know, a good indication of how finely tuned these two teams are. How many big saves have you seen either goaltender have to make yet?
Yeah.
You know, and they've almost mistake-free, especially 5-on-5 in front of their own goaltender. And you know, these are two teams, Milwaukee for sure heading to the playoffs, and it's really hard to tell the difference between which team's in second, which team's in fourth.
As I said, Joe, the last time these two teams played, it was a 4-3 game, very close, won in the last minute. I look at some of the guys who were in their lineup then that aren't there now. Chris Beach, Scotty Upshall, Timofey Shishkinov, Jordan Tutu, Shea Weber. That's a great line right there.
A lot of goals there too.
Absolutely. And somehow Claude Noel has been able to continue to keep his team together. And we've had quite a lengthy discussion here amongst the officials. And right now, referee Dean Morton over with some sort of explanation to the off-ice officials.
They're getting a minor.
He's also been in earnest conversation with Sheldon Brookbank.
I think this might have been called by one of the linesmen. Went over to Dean Morton, the referee, and indicated that there was a penalty on the play, and Klein is going to be going off. It might be for a cross check. That's the call I got.
Klein is going to get the call for throwing the stick. Joe, that's not one you see all that often.
No, it's not. And I think what happened, there was a loose stick or a broken stick on the ice, and I think he just chucked it from one side to the other just to get out of the way. But it's illegal. Can't do that.
So power play number 2 for the Exarban Knights will carry over into the second period should they not succeed here in the final 23.5 seconds.
You know, there was a loose stick earlier, maybe a minute and a half ago, and the referee, Dean Morton, was carrying it around. They want the officials to take care of any of the garbage lying around on the ice, not the players.
Bumped back, Giordano hurries for a shot, blocked away, loose. McDonald a chance, stick save Rene. McDonald back down low, could not hit Taylor. And this one played to the blue line, but just like that, the Knights power play is going to go away with just 10.7 now to go, unless the whistle didn't come fast enough and the elbowing signal is going against one of the Milwaukee players.
I'm not sure if it's Milwaukee or who it is, but the whistle was blown as soon as it went out to the point and a Knights player touched it. It will be Taylor.
It is Taylor. So there goes the power play. It lasts all of 20 seconds. Elbowing to Taylor at 19:49. So forget what I said about a power play carrying over there, although there will be one, that only on the Milwaukee side of the ledger. Regier back to set things up in the final 10. Nystrom was poke checked, and Mackey will just ramp it in as the horn sounds, ending the first period of play. 10-6 the shots in that first period, and the goals from Mark Giordano and from Greg Clausen. And Joe, I agree, that was a pretty well played period, very economical, very structured, well done from both teams.
You know, you can tell, especially from Milwaukee's point, they were instructed to to really go hard, get out of the gate, can use the body, and you know, both teams have played extremely well, but especially in front of their own goalies.
Let's go downstairs now. Torrey Pantalian is standing by with head coach Ryan McGill. Torrey.
Came out on the ice, I said to you and Scott, score right off the face-off. Give the home crowd something to cheer about. You came close. That first goal, Giordano punched it in, and boy, you guys looked like you were off and running.
Yeah, we certainly did. You just can't put this team on the power play early in the game, and Simone Gamache is a heck of a little player, and we weren't really up to the challenge that first power play against, and we did a good job in the next one, but we certainly can't stay in the penalty box. It's a high-paced game out there, and we're going to have to be up to the challenge.
I'll tell you what, this is probably one of the hardest hitting 20 minutes of hockey I've seen, especially for a first period.
Well, I mean, that's how we have to play, and this team across the way is going to match it hit for hit.
All right, what do you got planned for the second period?
Well, we're going to have to bury our chances on the power play, and we're going to have to bury our chances and we're going to have to be well aware of their best players when they're on the ice.
All right, Gilly, thanks a lot for spending time with us. Good luck the rest of the way. All right, guys, back up to you.
Torrey, thanks so much. And, you know, Ryan McGill said it, burying our chances. That's something that they've done a pretty good job of over the course of the last few games. They had a 3-game stretch where they were outscoring their opponents 16-4. That kind of offense doesn't come around all that often, especially when you're playing against a team like Milwaukee. So you got to be on your toes.
Yeah, especially against a goaltender like Rennie, because you know, Omaha cannot be too picky on which shots they choose to put on goal, because this guy's good and he's big.
Well, 1-1 through 20 minutes of hockey. When we come back, we will give you an insight into some of the work the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights do in the community. A visit to a school. We'll tell you more about that when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching Ak-Sar-Ben Knights hockey here on Cox.
More home, less money doesn't mean you have to sacrifice choice. In fact, at Hearthstone Homes, you get even more. At our state-of-the-art Choice Studio, we offer over 5,000 options for the inside and outside of your new home at one convenient location. At Hearthstone, you get it all. A choice of home styles, prices, and options. Because you deserve the home of your dreams. Hearthstone Homes. More home, less money.
Why are companies like Creighton University, Omaha Steaks, and Methodist Hospital moving to the fiber optic powerhouse of Cox Business Services? They're moving for customized, scalable solutions, for fault-tolerant redundancy, and for a solid team of local experts with around-the-clock accountability. Cox Business Services, powerful solutions for Omaha's most powerful companies. Join the movement.
I used to weigh 258 pounds and was very unhealthy.
Hi, I'm Kim, and this is me, 100 pounds later, and now I'm a consultant for Complete Nutrition.
With all the different types of weight loss pills, we know the ones that work. Our approach is getting you the right products and on a better path of good nutrition. Take your health and well-being to the next level.
Talk to a consultant today at Complete Nutrition for a healthier, happier you.
Complete Nutrition.
Back here at the Civic Auditorium, the Omaha Ak-Sar-Ben Knights hosting the Milwaukee Admirals, and right now this game is all tied up at 1. Dave Allers and Joe Clark along with you. You know, part of a hockey player's mission is not only to win games on the ice, but also to win over fans off the ice. And we had a chance to tag along with the Knights at a recent appearance at a school here in Omaha and give you an idea of what they do when they're not playing hockey.
How are you guys? My name is Brent Cron, and I'm a goaltender for the Omaha Knights. Everybody know what a goaltender is? No. No? You know what a goalie is? Yeah. I stop the puck. So you're a goalie. I'm a goalie, yep. Well, what we were doing here today was, reading to the children. You guys like Dr. Seuss? Yeah. He's awesome. Love him too. It's so important for us to do this, because I know when I was a kid growing up and being in schools, anytime some athlete would come in, whether it be, somebody from like the track team or the football team or whatever, you always looked up to them.
Do you ever sit and fidget when you don't know what to do? Everybody gets the fidgets, even me and even you.
My name's AJ Baines. I play center for the Omaha Ak-Sar-Ben Knights. Basically, going over the importance of reading, how important reading is when you're young, and us as older guys too, we still do a lot of reading, and it sets the ground, I guess, for later in your life.
On the far away island of Salamasan, Girdle the turtle was king of the pond.
My name's Eric Nystrom, number 19, left wing for the Omaha Knights. Down here at the Bancroft Elementary School, I got a chance to come down and read to the students. I actually read to a 4th grade class, and it's nice to get out to the community and help out.
This week we have Read Across Bancroft, which is a part of Read Across America for our students. And what it means to the kids to have this going on is it shows them that everyone in the world is avid readers, and that readers are leaders and different things like that in all walks of life. They want to look that the sports guys enjoy reading.
I even took my chair I just knew
These readers that we are having, these successful dignitaries, I want them here to emphasize to our students the meaning of reading.
You know, hockey was always my favorite sport, so whenever a hockey player would come into the school and talk to us or read to us, I'd be all ears. You know, I'd listen to the hockey player almost more than I'd listen to the teachers.
I think it's good for them for once in a while to, you know, bring something different and people that maybe they look up to or, you know, excited to see. You know, I think it's great for them.
And they were all unhappy, quite happy indeed. It's nice to know that, you know, the kids enjoyed my reading, and, you know, I think it's sometimes a little bit, it's good to get out of class and have somebody else come in other than your teacher, because you're in there all day, and to get a chance to do that for these kids is awesome, and to be a part of their school day it's great. I think it's a great feeling.
It's part of the job too. It's a responsibility for us to go out and you know, have a positive impact on the younger kids and you know, help them go in the right direction.
The game of hockey can give back, you know, in whatever capacity is really beneficial for everybody. When you start at school like this and children see that you're reading and, you know, you're having a good time reading and you're reading out loud, which is always a tough thing to do for most people.
So when you come in and see how enthusiastic they are, it makes you feel good, and to get to know them. And if any way if we can help them or have some kind of a positive influence on them in any way, I think it, you know, it's good.
We were just so thrilled to have the Omaha Knights hockey guys here this week, because it was just important to those kids that they see those sports guys that they see on TV and they see them playing hockey, and to have them come and read to them and be real, it was real important.
You know, whether it's coming to school or going to the children's hospital, just seeing the faces on the kids and talking to some parents, knowing that it does make an impact is something that, you know, keeps pro athletes giving back to the community, and I think that's huge.
The Ak-Sar-Ben Knights made that appearance at the Bancroft Elementary School coincidentally on Dr. Seuss's birthday, so they had to read Dr. Seuss to the kids, and anybody who has done that before knows how difficult a chore that can be. But that's one of many things the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights are involved in the community, and certainly that kind of commitment to the community will continue as the years go on.
You know, the Knights picked 3 perfect guys to go out and do that, because you know, you go through your hockey life and you meet different guys, but you know, Eric Nysham, for example, one of the most humble individuals I've ever met, you know, in all my days in hockey, and Croner's the same way, and AJ Baines I don't know as well, but supposed to be a great guy, but it does mean an awful lot to the kids in school.
1-1 our score through 20 minutes of hockey. We're back from the Civic Auditorium with more just a moment right here on Cox.
Some see a mom. We see a hero. A hero who works every day to give her family the life they deserve. At Hearthstone Homes, we offer the most home for the least amount of money in Omaha. Because while building homes is our business, our goal is to help everyday heroes build better lives. Sure, some may see a larger home and a smaller mortgage payment, but we see a larger life and a little peace of mind. Hearthstone Homes. More home, less money.
Performance Toyota Scion, Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge, and Performance Volkswagen, all at one convenient location. The Performance Auto Plaza off I-80 in Harrison. Over 20 acres of new and used Toyotas, Scions, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Volkswagens, and more. All at the Performance Auto Plaza, I-80 in Harrison. 3 great dealerships, one convenient location. Performance, driven to be the best. The Performance Auto Plaza, just off I-80 in Harrison.
It's another year of awards for Cox High-Speed Internet. From J.D. Power and Associates, the highest in customer satisfaction among high-speed internet service providers. From PC Magazine, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. From the Daily Nonpareil, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. And from Omaha Magazine, the Best of Omaha for high-speed internet providers 2 years in a row. We'd like to thank our customers. Your satisfaction is our biggest award.
It's not the playoffs, but it sure feels that way here at the Civic Auditorium tonight. One period done. The Ak-Sar-Ben Knights and Milwaukee Admirals all tied up at 1 as you get a look at the vital statistics from that first period. And Joe, not really any surprises. One stat that really continues to jump out at me every game is the number of shots the Knights are allowing throughout the course of these later season games. They're doing a great job of really keeping Brent Cron insulated.
You know, that tells you that everyone is playing on the same page, and really, you know, that phrase, that line has come into play in the last month and a half, and it coincides with this team's rise, you know, in the Western Division here. And you know, I mean, it's tough to put an expansion team together, and you got guys coming in from all over the place, and you know, they just have to learn how to play together. But Scotty Allen, Ryan McGill have done a great job of maintaining their discipline on the team and just getting the message across to these guys. Now the guys have come through.
I thought Ryan had an interesting point with Torrey Pantaleon earlier. He said, you know, we've got to keep these guys off the power play.
Yeah.
Milwaukee coming in as the 4th best power play team in the American Hockey League. The top 4 are all over 20%, and at that effectiveness, he's darn right.
You know, I wonder if the Knights will come out in the second period and really press the issue and maintain or even extend their physical play and do it in a smart way, because you know, I mean, keep in mind they did play last night. Milwaukee had a big game against, you know, a team they're trying to catch for first place in this Western Division, and you know, emotionally it might have taken its toll on this Milwaukee team. Hopefully we can see a little bit of that in the second and third period.
Well, at the end of the game tonight, we're expecting quite a spectacle. We have our first annual paper airplane toss. Folks here have bought paper airplanes. They're going to fold them up, throw them at a car that's parked at center ice, a brand new Chrysler PT Cruiser to be exact, and the money will go toward the March of Dimes. For more on what's going on with that event and what's going on with the March of Dimes coming up this year, let's send it back down to Torrey Pantaleon. Torrey.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Right now, we're going to take time out and talk to Diana Wilkins of the March of Dimes. Diana, you know, March of Dimes, I don't think there's anybody in America who hasn't heard of March of Dimes, but they might not know exactly what it does. And now's your chance to tell us all about that.
Well, right now we're in the middle of a 5-year prematurity campaign. Prematurity is an epidemic in the nation, and here in Nebraska it's risen 30% in the last decade. The problem is we don't know why it's risen. We don't know what causes it. 50% we can attribute to things, but the other 50% we don't know why. So we're in the middle of our campaign. That's what we're raising funds for. We started out, you know, in the 30s to eradicate polio, and we did. One of the few that organizations that can say we did conquer our mission. That led into birth defects, and prematurity, like I said, is rising all the time. We don't know why, so that's our mission right now.
So you're involved with the Knights game tonight. Is that all part of the purpose of you being here for the prematurity?
Yes, yes. All the money we raise right now goes to prematurity. Our Walk America is the biggest walk here in Nebraska, is April 30th. So we have people from our team captains from that organization selling airplanes up there so they can win the car here, and all that money will go to Walk America for prematurity.
All right, quickly, we've got about 30 seconds left. What are some of the big events coming up for March of Dimes?
Well, like I said, Walk America is April 30th at Mahoney State Park. You can register at walkamerica.org. We have an Excellence in Nursing event next November, which we recognize top nurses across the state. We have a Prematurity Summit and a Volunteer Leadership Conference next fall. We also have a motorcycle ride coming up in September that I'm very excited about, So
you're getting on your hog and you're going to ride, right?
Probably not, but I'll be there.
Well, thanks for taking time with us on Cox TV and with Knights Hockey.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Diana Wilkins with March of Dimes. Dave and Joe, back up to you.
Torrey, thanks so much. I can't wait to see those paper airplanes flying. You don't think you'd have much of a chance?
I don't think I could do a remote-controlled airplane into any sunroof.
Well, it's a busy night in the American Hockey League. As you can see, the one game that the Exarban Knights, or the one team the Exarban Knights have obviously been keeping an eye on, not in action tonight. The Iowa Stars playing last night in Rochester. They will play tomorrow night in Toronto, and right now just 4 points distant. But the other scores that you see and games involving teams from the West Division, the Chicago Wolves finishing off a 2-game swing through Winnipeg to take on Manitoba. Chicago was inching closer to the Knights and challenging for a playoff spot, Joe, but they've stumbled a bit badly, going winless in their last 6 games.
You know, they really have. But, you know, a month ago, Dave, I wouldn't have given Omaha's chances, you know, that much of a look, because they had played so many more games than everyone else in the division, but the other teams have caught up in the number of games played, and the Knights have maintained their lead.
Well, let's take a look now at the highlights from that first period, and it was the Exarban Knights who would get on the board first during a power play, Joe.
Once again, big hard shot, big rebound, goes out to Carson Germain, and he snaps it. A high shot over Rene's glove side shoulder.
And then for the some good hitting, as we talked about before, and the Milwaukee Admirals getting some good opportunities. Zach Stortini there in a delayed penalty situation, and a good collision there as Komarniski takes Klassen to the wall.
You know, the goal that they scored here on the power play that eventually tied the game was kind of a fortunate bounce. You know, it's not like Omaha had allowed. I think we're going to see it right here. They get to the middle of the ice, but a fortunate bounce right there off his skate and right to Klassen.
So, yeah, and good work there. But hitting has been the story, or some near misses as far as that goes.
You know, the thing is, Milwaukee comes in this game, and everyone knows what style of play that's, you know, Omaha plays. So they have to come out and match it. And it becomes kind of a back-and-forth game. Which team is going to back down first?
Well, the Milwaukee Admirals not showing any back down here so far through one period of play, going up against the Knights in their own building. Fans, we hope you'll join us for the Knights regular season finale on Saturday, April 8th, as the Knights host the Peoria Rivermen. Before the game, you can meet Congressman Tom Osborne from 6 to 7. Also, the first 1,000 fans 19 and older will receive a scratch ticket from the Nebraska Lottery. You can also bring any non-winning scratch ticket and get a ticket for just $10. So get ready for the Calder Cup playoffs by joining us for the regular season finale on Saturday, April 8th, as the Peoria Rivermen come to town. And Joe, that's one team we didn't get a chance to talk about, but Peoria, for all of the transition that it had around the trading deadline, hasn't really seemed to matter. They've brought guys in from the East Coast Hockey League, and they've really gotten it done.
You know, that's a credit to them, because it's a very difficult thing to do, is to handle all of the, you know, an upheaval of a lineup from night to night for a coach. And you know, obviously they have veterans on their team who can handle the you know, all the changes that are made, and it's not an easy thing to do. But you know, sometimes when you go on the road and you have a lot of new players coming in, it's easier to play that way on the road. You don't have as many distractions as you do at home.
You know, another team that's done a very good job of that is this very same Milwaukee Admirals team. By my count, they've got 6 guys on their roster who began the season in a lower minor league, either the ECHL or the United Hockey League, and they have all come in. And guys like Rich Peverly and Scott May and certainly Chris Durno have all played very big roles for them.
You know, that really comes down to 2 things: the coaches on the team and the veteran players, just making sure that no one really hits the panic button, and just kind of go along with the game plan, and players also have to buy into it as well.
Well, second period action about to begin, and it starts 4-on-4. Will be that way until Kevin Klein is released from the penalty box. Milwaukee will then have a power play of 12 seconds before we return to 5-on-5. It's Loins angling for Peters. Lined up and ridden hard to the wall by Greg Zanin. Not much Peters could have done there. He had to put on the brakes to get that puck. He's got it again. This time it hops off his stick, and Hadar will get it in deep. Giordano beats him there. Those two cancel one another out. It's Regier being chopped at by Simone Gamache. And now Giordano will dish up the glass. Loins poke checks, and Giordano was on it again. Nice job to step around Hadar and feed on for Loins. Loins from the red sends in. And a stoppage of play as that puck went over the rail and into the bench.
Nice forechecking job by Gamache and Hadar. They were just kind of like gnats in the offensive zone, trying to force the Knights into a turnover, and then they almost did a couple of times. It's hard. 4-on-4 hockey is not very easy to play. You make one mistake and it's going to be a 2-on-1 for a team.
Well, let's face it, Joe, teams don't practice 4-on-4 hockey.
Never.
Sherman watched by 2, but hands on up for A.J. Baines. And this one sent in. Rene out to tap it away. Lutz took the lick, but got on, and Peverly will scale it rink wide. Flipped in by Hessler. Losing his stick was Zenith Komarniski. And the puck comes to the near wall now in the Knights zone. Left off by Peverly, but intercepted by the Knights. Lutz juggled it, and here comes German. Baines joining him. Baines has now, holds up and shoots, and this one off the side of the net. Lutz may have gotten a piece of it. He'll bump for Peverly and now hand it across. It's Pivko who will drop back now. In 5 seconds, the Admirals will get their man back. And here's a good bit of thievery by McDonald. He'll fire, and a pad save made by Rene. And Joe, he just got the toe on that. Here's another steal. Oh, and just beyond the reach of McDonald after great work from Nystrom.
Boy, you don't see that happen very often, but McDonald did a great job of picking the pocket. And walked in alone and let a bomb go. But boy, all of a sudden, you know, these are the mistakes that I'm kind of wondering if Milwaukee will start to make because of last night's game.
Taylor wrapped it in front, and that one cut off. It's Hadar who will lay it back to no one in particular. And Prust sets it up now for Taylor in front, looking for Mackey. Mackey giving chase now as it's patted around near side by Gamache. Taylor will once more keep it deep. And Clausen forced to retrieve. It's Brookbank now, smoked out by Taylor. Out and through center, Gamache gets Hadar coming late around Mackey. And then swarmed upon by 3. The Knights will chip to neutral ice. Barry rakes it back in, testing Cron, who sticks it aside. And this one taken over by the Admirals, worked in front by Hadar. Save made. Cron rebound, swept underneath Cron by Stortini, who was coming fresh from the bench.
Giordano kind of let that play happen. He had his man in the corner as a simple one-on-one play, but he let him escape from the corner and start all the havoc in front of Brent Cron. But Cron came up with a couple of big saves and was able to grab the rebound and get it tucked under his legs. But right here, he gets out of the corner and the rebound right out front. And fortunately, the puck lands right between Cron's legs.
Zach Stortini with that chance. He'll lean in for the faceoff now with Warren Peters. Stortini began the year with the Iowa Stars. He was Edmonton property and reassigned by the Oilers here to Milwaukee. Down the far wing, given chase by Couture. He'll arrive first and negate an icing. Zanin carries him off, but he weathers that storm. And now it's Loins dealing with Zanin, who pries it off his stick. And chasing is Peters. Warren Peters down low. Loins nudged and the puck free. Couture trying to work it against Klein. Got it to the side of the net. The Admirals take again. This one to the blue line, but not past Regier. Peters in front. That ricochets beyond the reach of Couture and played out to neutral ice. Regier away from Siegel for the scale back in. This will go for icing as Kevin Klein is back on the touch-up. Down to 16:30 to go here in the second period. Knights won and Admirals won. Milwaukee in second place. 41-19, 5-2 is their record. And Joe, they're the only team in the Western Conference who hasn't at least 10 losses on the road this year. Their record away from home, 16-9, 3-2.
Tell you, I'm watching Greg Zanin play, and he is so good. He is so strong. Rarely gets beat one-on-one, especially out of the corners.
Chance from the point, blocked. And here comes Warren Peters. He'll fire. Glove save made Rene, and no rebound chance for Lynn Loins.
Peters and Loins going down basically on a 2-on-2. And I'm kind of glad to see him take the shot because he really didn't have any other options on that. But those types of shots aren't really going to give Rene much trouble.
Well, and there is Peters. Oftentimes you see a guy try to make a play at that blue line and it's a turnover, and all of a sudden it's an odd man rush the other way.
Keep the puck moving forward.
Out at center, it's Pivko, and he hits Peverly coming late. Backhander off of Palin's stick and out of play. Palin was a little beat up during the morning skate, but ready to go tonight. Folks, pause and rewind live TV with the digital video recorder. With a DVR from Cox, you can take control of your television viewing, record up to 50 hours of programming, even record high definition programming, plus automatically record your favorite shows and watch TV on your schedule. Ask your service representative for details today.
I wonder if my wife will let me get that.
I'm going to guess no. You have 2 kids, you know.
Forget
Can't be watching too much TV. McDonald in, taken to the wall. His drop pass for Prust, misfired. Prust knocked into the goaltender while not in possession of the puck. Should have been an interference call. Morton lets him play on his Barry for a rocket that goes wide. Rebound kept alive by the Admirals and played back down low, though, by Steve Bancroft. He'll get to German, and this one tugged along, not past Barry, who put it right back on the tape of Bancroft. Steve Bancroft holding off Libor Pivko, and this one pitchforked out of play. That will stop the clock, and a face-off to come one more time, 15:31. Now the time to go here in the second.
You know, the little collision there in front of Rene. Referee Dean Morton actually put the whistle to his lips and decided not to call.
Yeah. Yeah, and Brian McGill right now is saying just that. What does it take to get an interference call, I guess?
You know, some of the calls early in the game were a little ticky-tack. The one on Warren Peters, for example, he barely got a stick on him. Bang, penalty. And a lot of it now, they're letting it go. Morton's letting it go, and players don't like that. They like consistency.
That's the biggest thing, because they don't know how to play the game if the calls aren't the same each and every time out.
They don't know what they can get away with.
Exactly. And that's a lot of what it's about, too, is getting away with it in a physical game. Fired on goal. Rene made the save. The Knights were offside. That play should have been blown dead, actually, and it's not. Good for the Knights because the puck is still deep in the zone. German, a good crunching hit along the far side on Barber. Trying to walk it on was Taylor, but he's pinched off. Free in his feet for Mackey to fish out. And back to the end wall. It's Taylor pursuing. Finally, a call will come. This one will go against Corey Hessler for impeding the progress of Justin Taylor.
And once again, the Knights are doing the job along the wall and making things very difficult for the defensive players from Milwaukee. They keep their feet moving. And you know what? That's what the referees really want to see. If you don't keep your feet moving, it's going to be easy to play against. But if you keep your feet moving and defensive players kind of hold you up, tug you, hook you, you're going to get the call going in your favor.
So the Knights will begin their third power play. Their second power play, remember, lasted all of about 20 seconds before that one was washed. So an opportunity to get to work with an offensive zone faceoff. McDonald wins cleanly from Clausen. Giordano, Regier shovels, and that one tipped over the net. Swung back around by Rick Barry, bounds to Hadar, who pokes past Regier, and Giordano will have to track it down in his own zone. Hadar swooping in deep, and Baines a good job to flag down the up ice pass into the offensive zone. Gives off, carrying in is Nystrom, a backhander, and that one never made it toward the cage. Nystrom again will play it up high. Giordano across. Nystrom with a pass in his feet has to chase it down. Played behind, but too far for McDonald. This one off the glass. Great keep by Giordano. And now McDonald through his own feet to Baines. Couldn't squeeze it in front. Puck free, and McDonald again to keep it alive. Here is Nystrom swaggering free. Baines is passed to McDonald, and that backhander through the crease and wide. Holding on, it's Nystrom. Steps out and shoots. That one ricocheted, but again to the corner. McDonald up high again. Regier hands it across. Giordano shovels, tipped on the way through. Puck free, and this one taken over by Baines. 50 seconds to go in the power play for the Knights. Baines, McDonald turns, and that one off the crossbar. Puck loose near side. All the Knights have had so many good scoring opportunities, not only on this power play, but in this second period. The puck finally squibs through Regier, and he'll have to go back to the neutral zone to get it. The Knights get fresh power play players out there as Giordano tries to swagger back in. Brookbank stood him up, and offside is the call.
Boy, some brilliant passing. I mean, the Knights thread the needle about 4 or 5 times in that power play, and the best chance, so as you mentioned, from Eric Nystrom. He was low, close to the goaltender, popped up, got a pass, and bang. He let it go, but right off the crossbar, had Rene beaten cleanly.
Joe, as you know, on the power play, so much of it is just confidence and feel. You know where guys are going to be, and boy, the passes just hit tape, and you can feel the electricity coming up through your stick. Hambly a good pinch against May, and the puck popped back to the end wall. Greg Zanin pursued by Taylor and tied up. But Zanin flips it free, and it's Klein doing the honors on the clear. Bancroft back with 10 seconds to go with the Knights power play. Handed off for Hambly and sent rink wide. Taylor couldn't get to it as Zanin stuffs it deep. And there goes the power play for the Knights. 1 for 3 are they with a man advantage in this game. And the game stays tied at 1. Mackey a great job to fight off the check of Klein and scale in. There is Zanin. After him, Warren Peters. Zanin a great job to hold him off, creating some time and space for himself before dishing off. And Klein down the far wing to Hadar, who deflects in. Bancroft couldn't squeeze it through Gamache. Hadar had, in his centering feed, found only Carson German. Lifted along, and here comes Prust, 1-on-2. Joining Komarniski as well. Peters, Prust pass, knocked free. It's Gamache trying to stagger by, but he's rubbed out by Party. Party looks over his shoulder and sees no penalty, and that allows German to move back up ice. German left it for Prust. 3-on-2 as he brings it in. Laid it off in the slot. Tightly covered was Loins, but he got it back. And there is Prust trying for McDonald, and that one knocked down from the seat of his pants. Loins fighting to keep it alive. Brookbank now will crank it past Komarniski and all the way back. Gamache will hurry to this one first near side, but the Knights touch first, and icing called against Milwaukee. Boy, that one looked as if it was going to be a win for the Admirals on the chase down.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but the Knights, they're saying the Knights got to it first. It'll be face-off to the right of Rene.
Fans, join us on Friday, March 31st. The Knights host the Houston Aeros. It's ladies' night. All ladies will be admitted free with the purchase of a regular price ticket. Also, 2 lucky fans will win a night out with a Knight. That's dinner with a guest and Knight Center's A.J. Baines and Dave Moss. Get your tickets by visiting the Civic box office weekdays from 10 to 5 or through Ticketmaster. It's Barry swinging, looking for Clausen. Couldn't find him. Regier couldn't get it. And here comes the seemingly ever-present Darren Hadar. He went down, and Regier with an opportunity to play it far side. Nystrom to McDonald, chopped along for Baines, and Baines a great recovery to steer it past Klein. He's after Zanin now, and a great check there. Puck free. Zanin will tuck it back up the far side. Siegel just wedges this one off the wall past the pinching Steve Bancroft. Nystrom turns into a check, and the puck knocks free. The regroup play is to Palin, and German will tap it out. Run hard into the glass partition was Zanin, but he shrugs it off, and the puck goes into the glove of Brent Cron for a stoppage. 11 minutes even to go now in the second period. Sarban Knights coming into this game winners of 4 straight. They've got points in 4 of their last 5 games. And this time of year, it's all about earning points and staying ahead of the guys who are trying to track you down. In this case, the Iowa Stars.
April 7th. That'll be a big one.
That will be a huge game. The last meeting of the regular season between these two teams. The season series, in that case, was very front-loaded. Most of the games were in the early going. Here's a giveaway, and a backhander swept wide by Paul Brown. Pull cued along by Mackey and grabbed by German. German through the defense, hanging on far side. A delayed penalty coming up. It will be to the Admirals. Taylor now tracing it near side. And finally touched by an Admiral stick, and a power play to come off a hooking call.
Well, that's a great example of how important it is to keep your feet moving, because, you know, Eric German basically created that penalty by moving his feet along the boards, and you know, bad habits are hard to kill off sometimes, and a lot of these players in the American League are, you know, they're getting better at it, but there's a hook now and then, and he's off, and the Knights go on another power play.
Corey Hessler, one of those guys who began in the lower minor leagues, 37 points in 46 games with the Rockford Ice Hogs of the UHL. So power play number 4 for the Exarban Knights, and it's McDonald, Nystrom, and German, the trio that came so close to clicking in the last man advantage. Nystrom to the corner, German, Giordano across. Regier, one-timer, fluttered off his stick. Nystrom's got it again, poked away. Giordano holds, and now German trying to battle it past Klein. Klein's cleared, went off of Regier, didn't know where it was. And a shorthanded bid the other way as Siegel swoops in for a shot. Save made by Cron, and he will hang on.
Dangerous shot by Siegel there, because he shot it with his feet moving. And the goalies really can't get a gauge on where the shot's going or what direction it's going in anyway when your feet are moving.
Well, the Calgary Flames, not only owners of this team, but also they own a junior team, the Calgary Hitmen, and the guy who just took that shot, Brandon Siegel, a graduate of that program, played there from 1999 to 2004.
That shot had a little mustard on it, too.
No question about it. Giordano looking to move it up ice. His shot knocked down. Pivko will try for this, but that blocked away. And the Knights take back 1:20 to go in their man advantage. McDonald leads the rush, and now hands off for Nystrom. Put on the brakes, lost his edge. Pivko will punch back to the Knights line. Taylor is there to send Giordano away. The Knights in the middle of a change. Rene couldn't bunt it out of the air, and this one scaled back yet again. Joe, as effective as the Knights' last power play was, this is sort of a mirror image. This one not getting much going so far. Bancroft looking up ice, and his defensive partner Tim Hambley able to chip. Ooh, out of play. That one turned into a souvenir, and a face-off to come.
You know, that last power play, you know, they started with a face-off right in, you know, right to the right of Rene, and they were off and running. But in this power play, they weren't so fortunate, and they haven't been able to get the puck established in the zone, establish any control yet, and it's made a big difference.
45 still to go on the Knights power play as Bancroft accepts it back in his own end. Hadar menacing, but puck worked up ice, and there's Baines. Couldn't poke it by Greg Zanin. Don't see a lot of weaknesses in Greg Zanin's game. No, he just continues to play well every night against the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights. And I've got to think being back here in this building is gives him a bit of a jump to his step. German now lugging into a maze of maroon jerseys. Poke free, but Bancroft has, shoots, save, rebound, loose. German a chance, another save by Rene, put it right off his pad, and that one promptly collected.
You know, the original shot there by Bancroft was so slow, it almost handcuffed Rene, but German was right there for the second attempt, and Rene is really coming up with a big game.
You run the risk of overreacting sometimes, Joe, and there it is again. It was deflected on the way through, and that
I think Mackey got a piece of that on the way through.
So an offensive zone draw on the final 10 of this power play. Peters, Loins, and Prust will finish it off. Here is Bancroft moving in. Centering feed, never got through. And back is Tim Hambley with Scott May right after him. Blast far side. Prust got it to the blue line, but only that far. Zanin now for Brookbank. And this one swung in by Gamache. Tough to tell sometimes when you look at Gamache and Hadar both out there. They're both small guys. One guy wears 10, another guy wears 20. Wow. And now a big pileup goes as guys are being hit from behind in both sweaters. And everyone's grabbed a partner.
I think the Admirals wanted a call there, and I didn't get the jersey number of the Omaha Knight who went into a player from behind, and he went crashing into the boards. It might have been Prust. We'll get a replay on it, but I think they took offense to that big hit.
Well, and there was no call coming from Dean Morton, too. There was absolutely no signal. We'll have penalties now for sure. As they sort that out, we'll take this break. You're watching at Knights Hockey here on Cox.
Performance Toyota Scion, Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge, and Performance Volkswagen, all at one convenient location. The Performance Auto Plaza off I-80 in Harrison. Over 20 acres of new and used Toyotas, Scions, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Volkswagens, and more. The Performance Auto Plaza, I-80 in Harrison. 3 great dealerships, one convenient location. Performance, driven to be the best. The Performance Auto Plaza, just off I-80 in Harrison.
It's another year of awards for Cox High-Speed Internet. From J.D. Power and Associates, the highest in customer satisfaction among high-speed internet service providers. From PC Magazine, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. From the Daily Nonpareil, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. And from Omaha Magazine, the Best of Omaha for high-speed internet providers 2 years in a row. We'd like to thank our customers. Your satisfaction is our biggest award.
Joe, another look at what happened here, and it was Warren Peters applying the initial hit.
You know, I don't care what they say. That should have been a penalty on him because he had the Milwaukee player in a vulnerable position. And Peters is the one going to the box. The door's still open. We'll see.
He's going to be joined by Simone Gamache, who came in after Peters had applied that hit.
Well, I don't blame Milwaukee for being a little upset by the hit by Peters, but the Knights got out of this a little bit fortunate with one man each going to the box.
Well, and the stipulation is that if a guy has his back to you when he's near the wall, you have to lay off. Yeah. The onus is absolutely on the approaching player.
That's just common sense, and it's a field call by the referee. Sometimes players can quickly turn and make it so their back is to the guy coming at them, and the referees have to sort that out by themselves. But that was kind of obvious, and luckily he didn't get a 2-minute minor or even a major for hitting from behind.
So cross-checking to Gamache, boarding to Warren Peters on that, and there you look at the remaining home games here in the month of March. This is game number 6 of 9 at home. And the Knights trying to make hay with this home ice advantage, although the majority of their wins this year have come on the road. So 4-on-4 we play for the second time in this game, at least for an extended stretch. German and Taylor crisscross. Joining is Komarniski. Taylor has it now and looking to create some room. Justin Taylor through the crease, and looking for the tip was Komarniski, but couldn't get the lumber on it. German steals in front. Taylor turns and fires, and a save made by Rene.
What a great shot by Taylor, because he was shooting it from where Rene was coming, and that didn't take much from going into the net. But a nice play by Komarniski, making a 2-on-2 into a 3-on-2, and that's what it takes with 4-on-4 hockey. Here's a shot by Taylor, and I tell you, not much more, and that would have stuck under the arm. Past the stick of Rene. Great save.
Joe, this is the kind of luck the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights have had against this goaltender.
Yeah.
You mentioned he's 4-0, a 1.47 goals against average, and a 93.4 save percentage in his appearances against the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights this year. He's been automatic.
Well, why he's down here.
Yeah. Guess that says a lot about the goaltenders that Nashville has, and it certainly does. Here come the Admirals with 1:15 to go in this 4-on-4. It's the defenseman Klein joining. Dropped off for Clausen, who has their goal. That one coming on the power play back in the first. Lutz holding. Down low, Clausen digs it out for Hadar, and a shot stick to the corner by Kron. This one played up the near side, and it's Clausen holding on again. Clausen shook free from Komarniski. Had a pass poked away by Nystrom, but gets it back up high. Klein fires. A save made by Kron, but Zanin hurries to the loose puck. Hadar all bottled up by Bancroft. The Knights take control. Bancroft, a dangerous pass, but got it through. And here's Nystrom now chasing. He's angled off by Greg Zanin and wrapped up. The puck comes free, and Zanin able to skate out with it. Beverly carrying now for Milwaukee. Leaves for Hadar. Gives back across, and the one-timer by Zanin. Good credit should go to Brandon Pruss for getting in the way.
Yeah, he was loaded and ready to fire, but Brandon Pruss came across, got his stick in there, and deflected it. But that last play by Eric Nystrom was really a tough one. It was at the end of his shift. He didn't have a lot of gas left.
Folks, Cox High Definition available, and you won't believe it until you see it. So ask your Cox representative for more details on Cox High Definition. One of these days we may have one of these games in high def. I've never, believe it or not, I've never seen a hockey game in high definition. I'm told it's
awesome,
unbelievable.
Yep.
And hockey is a sport made for high definition television. Mackey, a one-on-one with Brookbank. Tried to use him as a screen for the shot. That blocked away. Rene will stick to the corner. Pruss, though, on it, controlling with one hand, and now Pivko angling him off. Got it to the side of the net. Rene trying to control, but could not, and Pivko knocked Pruss into the Milwaukee goaltender, and a little bit of pushing and shoving going on there.
You know, Pivko created that because he's the one who kind of threw Pruss into his goaltender, and the Admirals are taking offense to that. They want a penalty. I don't think Dean Morton is going to budge on this. Pruss has played well tonight. It's kind of been a impact player without scoring any goals. He's done a nice job, created a little havoc in front of the net, and done well in the defensive zone.
Well, and really that is Brandon Pruss' game too. He is a havoc guy. And you know what? He probably made sure that contact was...
Yeah. He's going to get pushed in. He'll get the extra shot.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Who can blame him?
6:08 now to go in the second period. Regier across, Giordano. This got through German. Rene can't play it outside of that area, and so Taylor to it first. Couldn't feed in front. May took it away. And it's Barber who takes the weak flip, hops over Giordano. Tough play. Regier getting back. He's taken down. Offside is called on that whole play that went from being a good transition into a Keystone Cops maneuver.
Bouncing pucks will make you look silly sometimes, and really no easy way out for Giordano.
Well, you know, Mark Giordano, we've talked about it all year. He is a risk-reward guy.
Yeah.
He can take some big risks, and when they pay off, boy howdy. But when they don't, you can have some tough stuff coming at you the other way.
He's a good player, man. He's improved his game so much from the start of the year, and the Calgary Flames have just got the love his progress this year.
Keep in mind that this is a guy last year as a rookie was at times a 7th defenseman for the Lowell Lock Monsters because Lowell just had so much talent and he was still learning the pro game. I'd say his apprenticeship is going along very well.
All-star this year.
An all-star who didn't get an opportunity to play because, hey, he was on recall to the Calgary Flames. Rene Boy, turned that one into an acrobatic save and hung on long enough to get a whistle from Dean Morton.
I think that puck was going end over end and handcuffed him a little bit, but you know, those high shots that most goalies will stay on their feet and glove, he goes down to his knees and gloves it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, sometimes it's like an outfielder, you know, going down with his glove on a ball. It just makes it awkward for himself, and that's his style. I don't know if Nashville will work on that or not, or just let him go. I'd let him go.
Yeah, I'd say he's having some pretty good success with it. So why not? Face off, and it's Peters. Checked off by Stortini. Brookbank played it off of Loins, and the ricochet finds Derek Couture. Rick Barry's got him all walled up, but Couture keeping those feet moving. Now Bancroft, a good pinch to keep the puck alive. Peters slaps it deep. Here's Loins stepping off the wall right into a maze of Admirals. Palin at the near point around his man for a shot. The save made by Rene. He'll hang on, and you see that little move that Palin made. That's something they practice all the time.
You know, you have to, because that winger coming out to block the defenseman, he's taught to make sure he gets his body in front of the puck. And that little move Palin made create a little bit of an alley. You'll see right here, little left and back right. The body's no longer in front of the puck. He gets it to the front of the net, and that's all you can ask for.
Just enough to open up that defender for the shot. Fans keep up to date with the Omaha Exarban Knights as they drive for the Calder Cup playoffs by visiting us online at omahaexarbanknights.com. We'll have recaps of the games, player bios, live webcasts, you name it, we've got it. omahaexarbanknights.com. The cycle working now in the hands of Brandon Prust. Prust will hand off for Nystrom in the slot. Bancroft spikes back down. Prust took the shoulder from Klein. Taking over was McDonald, and tried to get in front. That cut off. Brought back up for Paul Brown to dump in. It's Durno wrapped up by Palin along the end wall. Sweeping through is Stortini. The bangers and whackers out there for Milwaukee. And with this is Durno. A chance goes off of McDonald. Pinching to keep it is Hessler. And a good little battle going on now in the corner. Milwaukee has unable to hang on was Brown. It's Hessler once more down to the hash marks to keep it alive for Durno. Durno centers, intended for Stortini, instead sent back into the Milwaukee end. 4 minutes to go now, second period. We had 2 goals in the first period, 1 for each team. We haven't had one since, and it remains a 1-1 game. Adam Party, a good job working that puck away from Greg Barber. It's Komarniski losing his edge a bit, but flipping this one out of play. And the clock stopped once more. 3:44 the time to go. The Exarban Knights with 8 shots on goal. And Joe, Milwaukee with just 4 in this period.
You know, typical play by the Knights, but you know, for as much possession the Knights have had around Rene, they really still have had a hard time getting to the slide, getting to the meat of the ice, and not a lot of great quality shots on Rene.
Fans you saw just a moment ago, Miss Nebraska and Miss Teen Nebraska in the crowd tonight. We'll talk to them during our second intermission. Shot ricochets on goal, and Cron stayed in front of it. The Knights will clear to the wall, and here comes Justin Taylor bustling back on. Sends in off of Barry. He follows, and Taylor again controlling. Up high, Komarniski. A shot on goal. The save made once more by Rene, and credit to his defenders. If he can't see the shot, by the time he gets it, there aren't a lot of guys around him.
Yeah, they clear out really well. They're, you know, I mean, you know, Zanin is the biggest guy, but his other teammates on the blue line are big guys, and they usually have no problem clearing out in front. But you know, I was going to mention Justin Taylor is, to me, this is probably the best game I've seen him play all year long. He's had an impact, just doing a lot of little things right, especially in the offensive zone, creating space for his players and just not turning the puck over.
Justin Taylor, 13 goals and 32 points. This from a guy who was not drafted. He is a free agent signee by Calgary and has really developed his game as a second-year pro. Long up ice feed will go for naught. That means Giordano is back on the icing touch-up, and yet again another offensive zone face-off for the Exarban Knights. How close has this series been? Well, 4 of the 7 games have been decided by just 1 goal, and there was indeed a 3-1 and a 2-0 game factored into that mix too. So in spite of their standing and the number of wins, Milwaukee with 10 more than the Exarban Knights, this has been a very close series. Zanin will yank behind, and Klein now carries. Good feed for Gamache. Gamache across for a quick shot. Cron makes the save this time around, and the puck squeezed for one more stoppage of play.
You know, we had Houston in here last week, and you know, some of the big guns in the West are, you know, coming to town. And you look at the two teams, whether it's Omaha compared to Houston or Omaha compared to Milwaukee, there's little to choose from. You know, and I think whoever gets, if Omaha makes it to the playoffs, whoever gets them is, they got to be a little nervous because their record is a little bit deceiving on how well they are playing.
Well, and the coaches both talked about it, wanting to send a message in the remaining games in the regular season to some potential playoff opponents. A steal, and Hadar shovels it wide. Held by Brookbank for the slug back down. It's Clausen, a nice job to staunch the clearing attempt by Regier, and the puck to the corner now for Gamache to play once more. Hadar returns. Gamache off the wall. Tried to work the give and go, but Baines had that one sniffed out. Angled back in by Loins. Peters fights his way through. Warren Peters will tuck back along. And now here is Loins. Shrugs off Barry's hit. Still with control in Loins hanging on. Joining is Craig McDonald as a big scrum ensues along the near wall. Palin holding the near point. Tried to tuck down the boards. Still alive in the corner now for McDonald to cycle. Yanked back along, and Prust on his horse. Got it back in front, and Rene made the prudent play, covering with play deep in his own zone.
You know, nice job by just getting a whistle. It's the end of a long shift for both teams, especially Milwaukee, but the Knights will have a face-off to the right of Rene. Really a nothing play, and he threw it to the front, and he took the whistle.
Joe, I just marvel at this every night that I get a chance to watch these great players play and realize how fit they are and what great shape they are to be able to play so many games in such a, well, it's a long span of time, but sometimes it's really crunched up. The Knights played 4 and 5 games beginning last Saturday, and Milwaukee playing last night, making some travel, and playing again tonight. Here they come with a 3-on-2 rush, and Peverly's chance deflects to the mesh.
You know, you talk about the schedule and the you know, the tough weekends they may have. Keep in mind that forwards and defensemen generally lose weight, and it's all fluid, 4 to 5, maybe 6 pounds a night, and goalies 9 or 10 pounds a night. You know, so they really have to take care of their bodies. They got to replenish their bodies with a lot of fluid. But you know, as the season goes on, this time of the year, it's tough on them. And you're right. Credit to them on how well conditioned they are.
Well, and you know what? That weight does eventually, some of that weight eventually stays off too. No guy is going to weigh the same at the end of the year that he does at the beginning. And yet they continue to go out and throw their bodies around with abandon, and all to our enjoyment. Here comes Milwaukee out of their own zone. Pivko, a nice job to get it on. Peverly pulls and shoots, and that shanked off the glove of Cron. Taylor will scoop back and nudge for Mackey. Push to center ice. The Admirals back on it, and it's Cron who couldn't play it as it rolls past. Bancroft will reverse. Hurrying to this is Justin Taylor. Shrugged off one hit, able to poke it out. Cleared right back in as we approach less than a minute to go here in the second period. Ambly up, looking for Mackey. It ricochets off and in. Zanin will settle and send his man away. Carried on down the far side for a quick shot over the head of Brent Cron, near side. Durno will slug back in low, and Hambly once more on the retake. Up the far side, Baines, nice job to sweep it across. Here comes Loins. Lynn Loins breaking in down the near side. Backhand shot, save made by Rene. And geez, from our angle, Joe, it kind of goes to what you were speaking about before. As he went down, he's reaching at the same time. It looks awkward, but he's still making those saves. We get another look at it here.
I tell you what, when he can get into trouble, right here the shot, he goes down. It's a tough one, because if that puck is deflected in any way along the way, it's going to go in, and if it's on target anyway. And that's why maybe against his goaltender, from the very first shift of the game until now, you've seen the Knights take a ton of wrist shots from the blue line just to get it in front and see what happens.
Peters, Loins, and Nystrom set to finish off this period. Regier and Giordano backing them up. And it is Greg Clausen who will lean in for the faceoff with Warren Peters. Zanin pivoting away from Loins and wedging off the glass to neutral ice. Glove down by Regier. turned up ice, and offside is called on the play. One more stoppage now with 20.3 seconds to go. In the first period, it was Mark Giordano scoring on the power play at 1:54. Following that up, Milwaukee getting a power play tally from Greg Clausen at 7:18. Clausen and Peters once more square. Loins will step free for a shot. It's sticked away by Rene. To the blue line, but not out the first time. Clausen will ensure that second time around. Peters had trouble hanging on at center ice. Zanin, the weak flip, collared by A.J. Baines, pushed along for Loins. Baines trying to reach for it, but didn't get there in time as he got taken down by Klein, and those two exchange pleasantries after the horn has sounded.
You don't see that of A.J. Baines showing a lot of emotion like that, and I think he took exception to Klein tossing him into the boards right at the buzzer. Knowing that the horn was going to sound, it maybe seemed a bit excessive in A.J. Baines' mind, and you're right. Hard to see A.J. Baines getting too wound up like that because he's such a mild-mannered guy off the ice. But again, as we talked about at the top of the show, he has been a terrific addition to this Omaha Exarban Knights team. A veteran presence out there, a very smart hockey player, and he has paid some big dividends for Ryan McGill's club since his joining this team. I tell you, the first two periods, I think, is a great indication of what playoff hockey, if it is to come to the Omaha Knights, what playoff hockey is going to be like. And 1-1 game, and it's just a matter of who makes that next mistake, and you're down to your last 20 minutes here. Okay, let's go downstairs to a couple of guys from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Torrey Pantalian and Knights assistant coach Scott Allen.
Well, Dave, thanks for that promo for our home state there. You just said, let's go down to the Massachusetts boys. We can't help that he's a maniac, but that's beside the point. Scotty, I'll tell you what, you guys started out so well in the first period, really hard hitting. Man, this period, it's just like everybody's been keeping each other right here. I don't know if this is a game of who gets the first break now.
Well, you know what? This is the type of game we thought it was going to be tonight. Both teams are very hard-working teams who like to play a physical style of game. And the game's going to be won in the trenches and getting off the perimeter. And we got to challenge their skill guys like Gamache and Haydar, and their top guy in the back end is Zanin. We got to punish him every opportunity we get and keep throwing pucks to the net and hopefully get second and third shots.
Well, we've been talking about this all night. This has definitely got playoff atmosphere, and the implications are obvious. And, well, I'll tell you, can you get another 20 minutes out of the guys that we've seen the first 40 minutes?
Well, we're going to have to. I mean, the bottom line is the team that's going to step up and want it more and stay more disciplined with playing that same style of game is probably the team that's going to come out successful tonight. And that's the type of game we've got to play. And this is the type of game you want to play at this time of the year anyways, as you're preparing into the stretch run and getting prepared for the playoffs.
Well, in the first intermission, Gilly said we got to stop them from getting the power play. Pretty much effectively did that, although we've seen 4-on-4 a couple of times tonight, too. And that's really kind of changed the complexion of the game.
Yeah, without a doubt, one of the parts of our game plan tonight was keeping them off the power play. They have a very potent power play. They scored 8 goals in the last 3 games, 4 last night against Houston. We are very good on our penalty kill, but give a team like that too many opportunities on the power play and it could come back to haunt you.
All right, Scott, thanks a lot. Good luck to you the rest of the game.
Thank you very much.
All right, Scott Allen, assistant coach of the Knights. Let's go back to the guy from the favorite son of Maine. Dave, Joe, keep him out of trouble, will you?
Hey, Torrey, thanks very much. Actually, a couple of Maine guys up here in the press box tonight. Let's not forget our roots. Dave Allers and Joe Clark along with you. And when we come back here, we'll take a look at a guy who has been very key to the Knights' rise here in the last month and a half, and that is goaltender Brent Cron. Stay with us. 1-1, the Knights and the Milwaukee Admirals here on Cox.
Some see a mom. We see a hero. A hero who works every day to give her family the life they deserve. At Hearthstone Homes, we offer the most home for the least amount of money in Omaha. Because while building homes is our business, our goal is to help everyday heroes build better lives. Sure, some may see a larger home and a smaller mortgage payment, but we see a larger life and a little peace of mind. Hearthstone Homes. More home, less money.
Why are companies like Creighton University, Omaha Steaks, and Methodist Hospital moving to the fiber optic powerhouse of Cox Business Services? They're moving for customized, scalable solutions. for fault-tolerant redundancy, and for a solid team of local experts with around-the-clock accountability. Cox Business Services, powerful solutions for Omaha's most powerful companies. Join the movement.
Do you have well water that smells like rotten eggs? Black and brown staining on fixtures? White buildup on tubs, sinks, and dishes? White, brown, black buildup in your dishwasher? If this is your well water, it's time to call the well water experts from Hague Quality Water. Hague can custom build a system to your problem well water and give you a money-back guarantee.
If your water's hot, staining and stinking, and you don't like the drinking, it's time to call Hague Quality Water of Omaha and Lincoln.
Back here in the Civic Auditorium, who will blink first? 1-1 our score. The Exarban Knights and the Milwaukee Admirals through 2 periods of play. Joe Clark, Scotty Allen said this is the kind of game we expected here, and there really haven't been a lot of mistakes, not a lot of great scoring opportunities, just some pretty good hockey.
Yeah, the Knights are used to playing in a lot of one-goal games, and this one really isn't much different. Another tight game. They played half of their games, in one-goal situations, and they're right with them, and they're in good shape. I still like the fact that Milwaukee played last night, and they may show a little bit of their tiredness in the third period, but still the Knights have to keep the pressure on, keep using the body, and force mistakes on Milwaukee's end.
Well, there's no question about it. We mentioned it before. One of the reasons the Exarban Knights have been so successful since the beginning of February has been the play of goaltender Brent Cron, who has won 11 of his last 13 starts. He is the guy right now backstopping this great run. Try to get off the shot. Quick one there by Brooks off the ricochet, and the save made by Cron.
My approach to goaltending is, it's 90% mental and 10% physical. When a goaltender makes a mistake, you really notice it because it ends up in the back of the net. A forward makes a mistake, it's a bad pass. People notice it, but it's not as crucial at times.
Well, communication between the goalies and the defensemen is critical in a game because of the speed of the game and the decision making that the goalies and the defensemen have to make with the puck.
Again, stopped by Giordano before he gets to his goaltender.
That's one of the biggest things in playing a team sport is, being able to have an understanding of where all your players are and what exactly everybody needs to do collectively.
The more we communicate with him, it makes his job easier, and in turn, he gets the puck to us in better situations instead of just getting off his stick and firing it on the glass and turning it over or something like that.
One-handed in front. This one caught in the feet of Derek Couture.
Well, obviously the communication's been a lot better. You can see each game that his confidence is growing and not just stopping the puck, but playing the puck. And obviously it's a big help for the defense when there's a puck dumped in, when he can get to it. With the new rules, he's only allowed to go so far. So we've been able to kind of get on the same page, and it showed not only in his goals against, but the team goals against.
And as my career has progressed and I've played more and more games, I've kind of found that less is more. And if I can just get my body in the way and make the shooter make a good shot to beat me and just do everything I can to stop that puck and just play with confidence.
When defense and goalies work together, it's kind of a tandem that builds confidence because we can take more chances knowing that your goal is going to be there to make the big save, or just being able to go beyond the means of simple hockey. We try to be a little more creative and know that Croner's back there and he's going to come up and be able to save our butts. Confidence is a big thing, and it's I wouldn't say it changes our game, but just gives you confidence making your plays and kind of getting out of the way of a shot for Croner so he can see it, because he's going to stop it, as opposed to maybe sometimes you want to get in the way and try and block it and you end up screening him. So with the confidence in him, we're able to give the easy shots to him.
At times we do need to take risks, and you know what, we're a team that isn't overly experienced, and we're going to make mistakes. So it's critical that he makes those saves for us and shows us that he can be the guy to kind of bolster things back there for our guys' confidence. And when he does that, we're successful.
having a hot goaltender going in the playoffs is a big key. You hear about it all the time. We're riding the goalie. Well, it's a team effort, but at the same time, if you don't have a hot goaltender, if he's just playing mediocre and letting in the odd soft one, it's really deflating to your team during the game.
Off of Cron it goes. First man on it, Hemingway tried to center, but Hambly a good job to block that.
Brent's played well. I think that the team has played well in front of him, and I think a lot of combinations of factors have been able to give him the opportunity to have success in the last 6 to 8 weeks, and therefore our team's had success. So I think they go hand in hand.
To make it to that next step, every NHL organization wants a consistent player and somebody they can rely on and count on. At the beginning of the year, I've kind of been, up and down, and I think I'm finally, growing up and maturing, and consistency is, I think, the biggest thing to make it to the next level.
The only thing that separates goalies from the National Hockey League and the American Hockey League is mental preparation, and if they can stay focused and be strong mentally on themselves, and most times they get to the next level.
Cron, quick shot, rebound, and a great glove save made by Cron. Safe to say that Brent Cron's focus is pretty sharp tonight, and that as well of the goaltender at the other end, Pekka Rinne. 1-1 through 40 minutes of hockey here from the Civic Auditorium. Third period ought to bring us some great action. Stay with us. We've got more coming up from the Civic right here on Cox.
Some see a dad. We see a hero. A hero dedicated to giving his family the life they deserve. At Hearthstone Homes, our goal is to help everyday heroes build better lives. So we look at building homes a little differently. We offer the most home for the least amount of money in Omaha, which means that while some may see a larger home and a smaller mortgage payment, we see a larger life and a little peace of mind. Hearthstone Homes. More home, less money.
Ever wonder what it's like to have high definition from Cox Digital Cable? Cox High Definition Service lets you experience a world 6 times sharper than traditional television. With 5.1 Dolby Digital sound. And unlike satellite, there's no expensive equipment to buy. Order Cox Digital Cable and get up to 13 channels of high definition free. Are you ready for the ride?
Thanks, Dave. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Stone. Even after 2 back surgeries, I've had back pain for over 20 years. And now I'm totally pain-free and totally flexible, thanks to the DRX 9000 and the Rejuvenation Center.
The Rejuvenation Center is a breakthrough. Non-surgical, FDA-approved, covered by insurance, highly recommended by local physicians, and effective with over 80% of patients. Get off the pain cycle. Come to the Miracle on 72nd Street. Call the Rejuvenation Center.
Tonight's game between the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights and the Milwaukee Admirals, not the first one played here this afternoon. The police and fire fighters from Omaha getting together, and well, they had to go to a shootout. Perhaps we'll see a shootout later on in this game, but this shootout won by the men and women of law enforcement.
Sign them up.
Yeah, exactly. Some pretty nice moves there in the shootout, and bravo to the Omaha Police Department in picking up that win. Well, there you see our stats, and again, Joe, it continued into the second period. The Knights did a good job of keeping those shots down, but they also didn't find themselves in the penalty box, at least when they weren't joined by somebody else.
Yeah, both Scott Allen and Ryan McGill pointed out that it'll be a key thing, especially against a team like Milwaukee, where they've got a lot of skill, and they're they're running their power play at 20%, and that has to continue, in the final 20 minutes. But a lot of it depends on if they keep their feet moving or not, and because the majority of penalties, I bet 80% of the penalties are caused because of the hookings and holdings, because guys are just a little bit lazy and they're not moving their feet, and the Knights have to make sure that they are the team going on the power play.
Those stats brought to you by Farmhouse Cafe and Bakery, the official caterer of Cox Sports, located at 84th and Grover. Well, we showed you the 2 young ladies enjoying the game in the stands earlier. Miss Nebraska and Miss Teen Nebraska in the crowd tonight. They have been signing autographs and posing for pictures, which the proceeds from which have been going to benefit the March of Dimes. And Tori Pantelian is standing by downstairs with those 2 young ladies.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. With me right now is Miss Nebraska Teen USA, Danielle Zarowski. She's from the metro area, from Ralston, currently attending Ralston High School.
Yep.
And I guess a lot of people, the first question you probably get asked a lot is, what's it like to be Miss Nebraska Teen USA, and how did you get started?
Well, it was actually the first pageant that I've ever done, and it's just kind of something for fun, and I ended up winning, which was crazy, and things have kind of changed, friends and just people kind of noticing me as someone different, but it's a lot of fun. It's not too much different, though.
So what are some of the duties that you have to perform as Miss Nebraska Teen USA?
Well, just like today, making appearances and signing autographs and just little things like that. And I have to, in a couple of months, get prepared for national competition, which will be in the first weekend of August. And we're not really for sure where it's at, but I have to get prepared for that, which will be a blast.
All right, well, good luck to you. Congratulations, and thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right, well, the next step for Miss Nebraska Teen USA is Miss Nebraska USA. And currently, that title belongs to Emily Paschal from Lincoln. And I noticed that you and Danielle both are here at the Knights game. And what's the main purpose for you being here tonight?
Tonight we're going to raise money for the March of Dimes. We'll be signing autographs out in the hallways. So anyone who wants a picture, autograph, as long as they give a donation to the March of Dimes, they'll be helping them out as well as getting to meet us.
Okay, so you're the next step up, obviously, is an age difference. You're in the older bracket, so to speak. But what are some of your duties and requirements in representing Nebraska?
Basically just to be a good role model to those young girls out there. My national pageant is actually next month, so it'll be on TV, so girls will be able to watch that. When I was younger, I watched it, and I looked up to those girls a lot. So hopefully Danielle and I both are doing that.
Well, good luck to you, and thanks a lot for coming with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, David, Joe, I got the best job in the world. Back up to you.
Yeah, I'd say, Tori, you were doing all right, and certainly two nice representatives from the state of Nebraska for sure. Let's take a look now at the out-of-town scoreboard of the American Hockey League. Other games we're keeping an eye on, Manitoba and Chicago all tied up at 1-1. Chicago right now pursuing the Exarban Knights in the West Division standings, but Chicago has fallen off a bit, and right now they are a full 11 points behind the Exarban Knights. Syracuse leading Peoria 1-0, trying to derail the Peoria Express. Joe, we talked about it before. They've lost a lot of guys to call-ups, and they continue to just chug right along.
You know, they really have, and you know, they're playing really good playoff hockey right now as well. And you know, a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, they had the Exarban Knights breathing right down their neck, and they stepped it up a little bit, and they've created a little distance between the two teams.
And one other game involving those West Division teams, San Antonio right now completing a 10-game homestand, and they've got a 1-0 lead on their Lone Star neighbors, the Houston Aeros, who are in a bit of a stretch away from home. 5 straight games, as a matter of fact, away from the Toyota Center. They'll be right back here on Thursday night for a game that starts at 7 o'clock. We hope you can join us for that one. And then a game coming up on Saturday that we should tell you a little bit about, because if you are a member of the military, you can get in an Exarban Knights game for free. It's a great event, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that as our game goes along. Teams returning to the ice for the third period of play. And Joe, I'd say if you're both teams, there really aren't a lot of adjustments to make. There aren't a lot of changes you want to do. You want to keep coming out playing the same way you've been playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like either team has turned the puck over a lot in their own zone or the blue lines or around their own goal. There's been none of that or very little of that. And I think, once again, you know, penalties will come into play.
Well, there you see Military Appreciation Night, which is what we were alluding to before. That's coming up next Saturday. The Knights will be hosting the Peoria Rivermen. Nextel will have a phone bank and offer free long-distance calls to military personnel. The Red Cross will have its VitaConnect service so that families can send video greetings to loved ones around the world. Get your tickets at any Nextel office. They're located at 143rd Street in Omaha, as well as their stores in Omaha, Bellevue, and Lincoln. For more information on Military Appreciation Night, call the Knights at 344-4625. Again, those tickets available at Nextel are courtesy of Nextel. They are picking up the tab for those, so we hope you'll take advantage of that and join us for that game. The Peoria Rivermen coming to town. Joe, we talked about the games the Knights have remaining. Yeah. There aren't a lot of soft touches in that match. We talked about Houston, we talked about Peoria, Milwaukee is on tap, and then you've got the game against Iowa, which looms large, as well as one more against Chicago.
That's exactly the way you want it, because, you know, if you play a team that's in last place and they have nothing to play for, you always got to worry about your team getting up for the game, even though, you know, those 2 points are pretty important. But when you're playing the Houstons, the Milwaukees, the Iowas, Those games mean so much for both teams. Shouldn't be any problem for the team to get ready, prepared the right way.
I think that's why the Knights coaches were so happy with the way their team played earlier this week in San Antonio, playing a team that's struggling, playing a team they should have beat, and they did twice, to be exact. Knights on the attack here in the third period as they skate from right to left, but it's Milwaukee taking back. Here is Paul Brown, spun by the check of Bancroft. Mackey trying to turn farther, but it's Peverly who will hurry back up ice. Pivko pinched off by Adam Party and looks a bit shaken up on that play. Knights trying to clear it out. First time is not a charm, but Party will hand rink wide to Bancroft, who gives on now for A.J. Baines, and this one tossed in. Knights changing on the fly, just underway here in the third period of a 1-1 game. Giordano trying to intercept, but could not take it away from Brown. It trickles in. The Knights in transition, and it's McDonald from the red line who will send, and there goes Eric Nystrom. First to the puck behind the net. Off the back. It's taken back by Sheldon Brookbank. He was the hero last night, picking up the game-winning goal late on a power play. Milwaukee scoring all 4 of its goals in the man advantage in a 4-3 win. Hadar stopped from a bad angle. Cron will hang on and watch a face-off come to his blocker side.
Now I'm watching Pivko as he came off the ice. The trainer is working on his hand a little bit, his right hand wrist. And Pivko's a key guy because he's a forward, but he plays on top on the power play, and he kind of, he plays an important role for this team in many different ways. So we'll have to watch his development.
Pivko 6th in assists in the American Hockey League. In fact, he's just now 2 behind Darren Hadar, who's picked up 1 tonight. Giordano in front of his own cage will spring Loins. Loins looking for Prust, who had beaten the puck into the offensive zone, and so Milwaukee with a free clear. Gamache off of Prust and to the far wall will take and bring in. Simone Gamache unable to get around Richie Regier. That well played off the glass, knocked back in by the Admirals. That one had broken the plane, and Nathan Lutz brought it back in for the offside.
A key guy that we really haven't talked a lot about tonight was going to be the referee, Dean Morton, because he can decide. He may put the whistle in his pocket and let the boys play, but if he decides to get ticky-tack with some of his calls, then it could change everything, and we'll have to see how he calls his third period.
Well, Joe, we talked earlier about consistencies among a ref calling a game between the start of the game and the end of the game. You get different consistencies from different referees. One guy calls it one way, one guy calls it another, and certainly that's not the way we saw the games called last weekend. Different referee and a different result. Here we haven't had much of a parade to the penalty box tonight, and that's made for some exciting and interesting play. Cron for Hambly will headman it on for German, and now given off for Taylor. His team changing behind. He'll shove in, and it's played aside by Rene. Hurried back by Brookbank and dished in. The Knights will now chase as Milwaukee changes. Pivoting his Party. Good up ice feed. Derek Couture swings it in. McDonald will put the heat on Kevin Klein. Klein curls his net. Nearly stepped into by Baines, but got it out to center. And now Party will give chase. Party trying to shake off the jet legs. Puck cleared up, not out. Zanin a shot. Kick save made by Cron as that one changed direction on the way through. Good play by Brent Cron off the giveaway by the Knights in their own zone. Centering feed. Knights take it away. Good play by McDonald. And up ice, it's A.J. Baines from the red line sent in. Couture fighting his way past Zanin. Got the shot. Rene the save. And Klein will turn for Zanin. Hoists it over Peters and Giordano as well for the play back into the Knights zone. 3 minutes and 15 have already ticked off here in the third period. Knights and Milwaukee Admirals continue 1-1. Puck swung in deep. Loins pinched off. Peters the puck, and now Prust swaggering free. Brandon Prust hanging on. Laid back down low. Rene digs to the corner, then has to hurry back as Prust intercepts. Now Lynn Loins spins off the check. Wheels it up the far side for Regier. Regier down low. His pass collared by Lutz. Rink wide now Gamache. And the headman feed finds Clausen, who will stoke it in past Giordano. Richie Regier, good job to look up ice and find Prust, who lugs to the red line. And the Knights will complete a shift change. 4 minutes gone by here in the third period. And Joe, this has taken on a look of a chess match, sort of. Neither one of these teams wants to make that fatal mistake, knowing that perhaps that next goal could be the decider.
Yeah, it won't take much either, but the defensemen are going to try to make sure they don't have the puck on their stick very long at all, because if they do, more chance of them getting pickpocketed.
Ricochet off a skate, carried forward by Taylor in the slot. Nystrom tied up, and a penalty coming as Nystrom goes crashing into the wall. You know, the Knights' scoring chances have come all so close, it seems, every time. And Nystrom was bearing in for a one-time chance that Scott May prevented, and probably that's one of those penalties you look back and say, well, we had to take that.
You know, once again, Justin Taylor involved in the play, but a nice little backhand dish, and Nystrom charging hard to the net and just hooked down. Kind of had to take that penalty, because if he doesn't, Nystrom's going to get a really good shot on goal.
May off for hooking at 4:24. Power play number 5 for the Exarban Knights. Knights coming in ranked 13th best in the American Hockey League on the power play at 17.7%. Keep in mind, their best power play goal scorer, Dave Moss, is out with an injury. He's had 16 this year. Giordano up, and it's McDonald playing. Looking for German, but misfired. Zanin back in his own zone to settle the roller. McDonald will give no quarter, but Zanin slides off the check, and now ragging even farther into his own zone. Taylor able to flush him out before he sends the puck all the way back down. Hadar to this first, shoved away by German. And Giordano now hurrying up ice into the offensive zone, nearly slid it through for Nystrom off his stick. He took it away from Barry, and now it's Taylor swinging through. Nystrom with one hand able to get back to the corner, and now McDonald up high. Holding his German, McDonald, goal line, Nystrom steps out, couldn't get off the shot, shoved down by Barry, scaled up the glass, German settles this. And now McDonald with control again. Rink wide Giordano, the pressure comes from Hadar, but he got it deep, and Nystrom will pop it behind. Now Craig McDonald with 50 seconds to go in the power play, steps out and shoots, save made, rebound loose, and Hadar able to bump off the glass and back into the Knight zone. Siegel swinging low, but now peeling away as German starts it back on with 35 to go. Around Siegel, he'll carry into the offensive zone. German down the near side. Clutching and then giving up high. Regier across. Mackey in. Fire, save, rebound loose. And Rene able to push it aside. Grabbed back by the Admirals, and this one hurried out. Clausen will take it and then rag it back into his own zone. Here comes Mackey after Zanin. This one punched back, and Cron will play it with 10 to go in the Knights' power play. Joe, the Knights have moved the puck well on this power play and had a couple of chances, but just haven't been able to finish them.
They haven't had that guy in the right place for the big rebounds by Rene.
Here's Baines across. Regier down low. Prust tried to slide it through, and that blocked away. Regier again for Prust at the goal line. The penalty's now over. Regier fires, hit the crowd in front. Baines hacks toward the net, but this one goes to the corner instead. Mackey then ridden off, and the puck free. Tugged around behind by May, and it's Libor Pivko, who had been shaken up earlier, able to steer up ice. Fired in by Klein, the glove save made by Cron. Dished it off, but stolen away by Peverly. Rich Peverly tried to get to Gamache, who was all set up for that big shot, but a good job by Peters to steal and clear. 12:55 now to go here in the third period. And this has been one heck of a tightly played game between two clubs who know how to play defense. Around far side, and it's Gamache pushing the pace. Hands off for Peverly, bringing in and then hanging on for a shot that goes to the mesh. And another stoppage now with 12:40 to go here in the third period. Fans, there is an easier way to pay your Cox bill. Pay online for free at Cox.com, or sign up for automatic monthly payments with Easy Pay and have your bill paid through your bank account or credit card. No checks, no stamps, and no hassles. Visit Cox.com today. Faceoff will come between Taylor and Stortini. Watching Stortini play as part of this team, I kind of wonder why Iowa let him go.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he was a healthy scratch at times for Dave Allison's club, and he really has provided that energy and that edginess that you need at this time of year for sure. Here is German. German trying to get around Barry. Got neutralized as Barry lost his stick. Nice trying to keep it alive, but a sliding Zach Stortini will knock the puck out to the neutral zone before the Knights take back yet again. Palin flips through. This one bunted down at center and blasted back in by Brookbank. Cron will set it up as both teams sort of regroup here. Nystrom near wall. Eric Nystrom has had a couple of good chances to score tonight. Right now he's just looking for some open real estate. To Palin, played through, and here is Bain staggering by Zanin. Will have to give chase. Tossed to the corner, and now Nystrom. Nystrom and Baines collide, and the puck dragged free. It's Zanin who takes control and sends it up ice. Peverly near side Brown. Brown a shot squelched by Komarniski. They collide, and Craig McDonald will send for Baines. Joining his Party, Baines will gain the red and send in. Party is the lone forechecker, and the big defenseman has it knocked off his stick as he's ridden to the wall. But Peters there. He'll send back around, and it's Prust. Overskated, but Loynes sweeps on. He lost the handle, still loose in the slot, and Loynes has it again. Loynes will bump along behind. Peters now with this, stepping free. And now down the near side, sauntering in is Giordano. Couldn't take the pass. Flipped by Peverly, but once more collared by Giordano. He skates to open ice and shoots. The save made. May have hit someone in front. And now Loynes hanging on at the near side. Worked over pretty well by Brown. And finally the puck hoisted through center ice past Regier and all the way back. Icing coming on this play.
Giordano had a really nice opportunity. I think everyone in the building thought he was going to fire off a shot from the left point, and he saw a little opening. He took it to the slot and let one go. But boy, I tell you, one mistake and this game is going to change in a hurry.
Shots even at 4 in this period. I mean,
yeah,
it's not getting, it can't get any closer between these two teams and the way they're playing. Their goaltenders have been outstanding, and the scoring opportunities have been few. 10:41 now to go in the third. Regier at the point, shoots, that blocked. Try to chip it to keep it alive, but it's cleared. Giordano pivoting for German, and now wedged along. Taylor will hoist it in. Settled by Hessler, the pursuit from Mackey. Swung to the far wall, and Nathan Lutz with control. Finally played up the wall and out to center ice. Gamache will backpedal, sending rink wide. Big Nathan Lutz will pop it in, and it's Komarniski to give chase. Dumped to the wall. Bancroft squeezes it up. Kicked along by German. Played farther by Taylor, but finally stolen away, and Hadar will angle back in. German's got to hurry. He'll play it off the glass. Hadar knocked it down, but the Knights able to push off his stick, and Taylor will shrug off that check before dumping along for Prust. Prust turns to an empty slot. Rene will scoop and play it far side. Knocked down was Prust. He's all hooked up by Brookbank. Shrugs that off anyway. Brandon Prust with some good work down low. Swinging the net. Couldn't get the backhander off. Here is Loynes now. Loynes from a terrible angle. That sails behind. Regier holding for another chance in that wide of Rene. Loynes on it once more, ridden off by Stortini. Tried to get deep for Prust, but the pass misfired. Gamache faked the hard around and then will reverse it. This one angled up the near side. It gets past Giordano and to neutral ice. Regier sends in once more, and it's Rene able to slow. Brookbank able to step around the attempted check of Warren Peters, and this one angled back down for yet another offside. Well, we're under 10 minutes to go here in the third period. The game's still tied at 1. You're watching Exarban Knights hockey on Cox.
More home, less money doesn't mean you have to sacrifice choice. In fact, at Hearthstone Homes, you get even more. At our state-of-the-art Choice Studio, we offer over 5,000 options for the inside and outside of your new home at one convenient location. At Hearthstone, you get it all. A choice of home styles, prices, and options. Because you deserve the home of your dreams. Hearthstone Homes. More home, less money.
Why are companies like Creighton University, Omaha Steaks, and Methodist Hospital moving to the fiber optic powerhouse of Cox Business Services? They're moving for customized, scalable solutions. for fault-tolerant redundancy, and for a solid team of local experts with around-the-clock accountability. Cox Business Services, powerful solutions for Omaha's most powerful companies. Join the movement.
I used to wait.
Joe, the last 3 or 4 minutes that we saw in this game is the same kind of hockey the Knights need to continue to play, because it looks as if they were wearing down the Admirals just a bit.
You know, they were doing a great job. That shift by Brandon Pruss, for example, in the corner, digging, going, his feet are moving, and is really putting the defenseman to the test for Milwaukee.
Baines wins from May, hurried toward the goal by Giordano wide, and Rene will take no chances with this one. He covers, and another face-off to come in the Milwaukee end. 8:53. You can see the time remaining here in the third period. Both goals coming in a span of less than 6 minutes back in the first period.
This is a stage of the game where the Knights have to smell blood right about now. They have to realize that this Milwaukee team, you know, they had a long night. They had a day of travel today, and they have them kind of on the ropes right now. They got to keep it going.
Giordano in. His shot deflects off a Milwaukee stick, and a face-off once more to come. We talked about it during the break. Milwaukee would be more than happy to go to a shootout here.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're on the road, and you know, they just want points. I mean, they have a lot to play for. They would love to have, you know, that spot in first place taken away from Houston. They're only 4 points back, and Houston's losing tonight in San Antonio.
Well, you said it too, because if they earn the #1 spot, well, of course, if they earn the #1 spot, they might draw the Exarban Knights.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, they do have still something to play for. They are going to make the playoffs. There's no question about that. But it's not as if there isn't anything left for them out there.
Well, I mean, they're as close to Houston as Iowa is to you know, to the Knights. So I mean, there's a lot of hockey to be played, and a lot of things can change in the standings in a hurry.
Greg McDonald's stick left in 3 pieces back in the Milwaukee zone. He goes for a new twig, and actually the Knights will go for fresh players altogether. Pivko trying to move in. Check from behind by Couture, who kicked it free, but right to a Milwaukee stick. And moving in was Brookbank. Couldn't get that shot off. The Knights will take over. And out at center ice, it's Mackey moving down the far wing. He's a man alone. Mackey trying to bust his way around Barry, the centering feed, collared by Klein. The clear, though, kept by Palin. And now pivoting away is Taylor. Taylor a shot. Save. Rene juggled it, but no chance for German on the rebound.
Boy, I tell you, that's another situation where Rene goes down, and maybe he could have stayed on his feet, but he almost caused a lot of trouble for himself by juggling that pretty simple shot.
The Knights continue to pump the shots on goal. 26 they have been given credit for now. Remarkably, just 5 in this period.
Yeah.
While Milwaukee has 4 on Brent Cron. But one tester that we've already seen come through off a redirection that Cron was able to kick out. Peters line out there, and Joe, at times this has been one of the most effective lines for the Knights.
A lot of energy out there in this line.
Zanin shrugs off the check of Loins. Looking for Hadar, misfired on that pass. Regier forced to play it around the glass. This one, though, hops once more to the seats.
And you got three younger guys in this line. You've got you got Pruss, you got Lyons and Peters, but look at you have on the blue line with them. You got probably the two best defensemen on the team, Giordano and Richard Regier.
And seeing a whale of ice time tonight, those two guys, you know they will tonight. This sets up well for the Knights. They don't have to play tomorrow.
Right.
Milwaukee doesn't either.
Right.
But the Knights have had a couple of days off since playing in San Antonio on Wednesday. Good job by Peters to settle. Moves in. His shot deflected away. And I just continue to be amazed by how well both of these teams get in front of shots and passes and block things away.
You know, the difference maker, little things like that. You get the blade of your stick, you know, right on the puck, and passes don't make it where they're supposed to go. They don't make it through. Shots don't make it through, and just creates havoc for the other team.
7:27 now to go in the third period. Milwaukee 1-1 in this building so far this year. Their win came via the shootout. Their loss was by a goal. Knights control. Komarniski lays it across. Hambly throws wide. Rene a good job to yank it around behind, and this one near side now. Klein will reverse. Zanin sizing things up with McDonald menacing. The two captains staring one another down. Played through center ice. Hambly able to take it away. He'll send McDonald up ice, and this one pushed along for German. Too far. Checked was Klein. Holding on to the puck is McDonald. McDonald couldn't step by Zanin. A good poke check denies him there. And Klein now looking for some real estate up the far side. Pushed around near wall. Slapped at by Siegel past Komarniski to the neutral zone. Hambly will push back along but misfired, and the Knights regroup yet again. Baines along up ice feed. This one goes awry. And Rick Barry is back on the touch-up. Rick Barry, a guy with some National Hockey League experience, nearly 200 games to be exact, playing for Colorado, Pittsburgh, and Washington, and he should be doubly fresh. He did not play last night.
You know, there's 6.5 minutes left in this game, and as I watched the Milwaukee Admirals skate around and try to track down the Knights with a puck, there's not a lot of juice left, not a lot of gas left in their tank, and the Knights have to realize that, smell it, feel it, and just stay right on top.
Komarniski chasing, his pocket picked, but a good recovery. The puck loose, though, comes to Clausen near side. Clausen will give it up high. Barry a shovel shot, tipped on the way through. That one went off of Hadar. Good thing, too, because Brent Cron did not see that one coming with the screen in front. Brookbank back to regroup, and now pivoting is Barry. Hands for Hadar, and a good pass steered on. This one carried in by the Admirals. Brookbank, the defenseman, joining the play. Swagger's free from a check. Puck worked in front. Gamache a chance, and somehow from point-blank range hacked that one to the glass. Puck may have rolled on edge a little bit on him, and now it's Regier chasing the dump in. He and Gamache cancel one another out. Gamache, a good job to get back in the play. He got upended, got up looking for a call, and I think we've already found out from Dean Morton that there will be very few calls here. Here's Prost knifing in, centering feed off of Loins as he was tangled up. And the puck able to work up the near side. Milwaukee can't get it by Justin Taylor, trying to pull his way to the net. Just too many Admirals there. Bad clear by Hadar, kept by Palin. Taylor across. His pass too far for Prost. From a bad angle, put this one off of Hessler. Bounces it to the side of his net where Rene will cover and hang on.
Long shift for both teams, especially Milwaukee. Milwaukee had the edge. They had the Knights pinned in, and all of a sudden the Knights went on the attack, and they got caught in their defensive zone. Milwaukee did, and I tell you, that whistle couldn't have come at a better time. Here's a replay right out, and he had a point-blank shot, and that puck had to have been jumping around because not many people missed the net from there. It's almost impossible.
Especially for a guy as nifty as Simone Gamache.
Yeah.
Face-off won by Milwaukee. Klein advances it out to center ice. Bancroft a good job to block it down. He'll send Nystrom back in. German chasing after Klein, who pushes it free. Peverly, his pass misfires. Knights give it right back, and the puck sent all the way back down ice. An icing call forthcoming, and Palin will put a little extra giddy up in his step to get there ahead of Paul Brown. Not the guy who founded the Cleveland Browns.
The other Paul Brown.
Yeah, the other Paul Brown. Paul Brown coming in as a guy who's played not as large a role on this team as some others, but is out there now, and let's face it, everybody's got to play an important role for their team in this stretch of the season. McDonald wins the face-off. It bounces back. Bancroft gives off. Palin a shot, hit the crowd in front. Mackey looking for McDonald. He got free for the wraparound chance. Puck loose, and Mackey, bad luck, skated right to his captain, able to keep it alive. And along the end wall now, here is McDonald. Checked, but able to shrug it off. And left off in the corner for German. German hanging on. The Admirals giving him some room. Played back down low through Mackey, but to McDonald. Pried off his tape and up the near wall. The Admirals take over as Libor Pivko will force it out to neutral ice. Palin hurries it rink wide. Steve Bancroft gains the red and blasts it in. The Knights giving chase as Brookbank sends back around yet again. Struggling with it was Lutz. Puck loose. After it, both Prost, Loins, and Peters in there as well as Prost is mugged at the side of the net. And here is Peters trying to step through traffic. Under 4 minutes to go now in the third period. The game still tied at 1. Lutz gives up the near wall but couldn't hit Siegel with the pass. This one rolls deep. They're calling for the icing, and Tim Hambly is back. Another offensive zone face-off, Joe, and those important.
Yeah, really critical, especially this time of the game, this part of the game. Remember, when a team ices the puck, they cannot leave the ice. Those 5 skaters have got to remain on the ice surface, and it really hurts because if you're dead tired like these Admirals are right now, there's nothing you can do about it. You don't want to give up a quality shot on goal here.
See Nathan Lutz collecting himself, lost his lid at the side of his own net in a collision with Brandon Prust. The Admirals with control of this as Lutz pivots away. He's going to be one of those guys you'd think would want to get off the ice, but Baines forces him to turn back. And now we'll angle near side. Brandon Siegel able to turn this one in. Remarkably, the Admirals don't get fresh players out there. They keep the guys out there that they had. Puck loose. Hambly chopped it off his own man. He then took a chop from Durno, but sends around behind, and Komarniski will give up the glass. It got through Taylor. Brookbank has, but gave it right back. Komarniski worked it to German. He got checked by Durno, and Komarniski forced the dump once more to neutral ice. Clausen gloved this one down and brings it in down the near side. Feeds on for Siegel. Took the shot. Stick save Cron. The rebound booted along by Taylor, and a good job to lay back for Hambly. Hambly now up ice. The pass ricochets behind Brandon Prust. Under 3 minutes to go now in the third. Are we looking at overtime? Gamache in, drops off. Hadar a shot. Glove save. Cron. He'll hang on. No rebound chance there.
Yeah, you got to watch number 20 because when Hadar is on the ice, anything can happen. And that scoring chance by Milwaukee was created by number 20. He jumped off the bench and little chip off the boards, and he got it back and he threw it on goal. But he's one of the guys that really worries me.
Hadar picked up his 100th AHL goal in the game last night. And now with the assist tonight has matched his career high for points. He did that in his rookie year. Odd carom out of the corner, but it takes a Knights hop. Prust out at center now for Loins. Moving in down the far wing, joining is Peters. Loins put on the brakes, but lost the puck as he lost his edge. And it's Klein back up ice. Breaking in is Clausen. And to the end wall turned, Giordano intercepts. Tried to clear it around, but once more intercept by Clausen and dish down low. Regier, a good one-on-one battle there, but Gamache able to get it free for Hadar, sweeping the net. And now tossed off in the corner. He'll get it back. Hadar lays it up high. Here is Brookbank. Brookbank trying to get the shot through. That one ricochets away. Giordano will play up the near side. Prust fights to the blue line, not past Brookbank. Got it on for Clausen. Poke check there, and the Knights will finally get the clear they needed. Under 2 minutes to go now in the third as Hadar brings back in. Hadar moving for the slap shot, then drew a crowd, dished it off, and this one hacked wide. Hadar's got it again, trying to get it toward the cage. Good job by Steve Bancroft to intervene. Libor Pivko in the near corner, poke check by Baines. Still the Admirals with the same line out there. Yeah. And they continue to hold play in the Knights zone. Finally cleared down. This will go to Rene. A break for the Knights. No icing to be called, and they'll get a chance to change their line. Under a minute and a half to go in the third. This game still tied at 1. Pushed up the far side and just out to center. Milwaukee doing a good job now of getting fresh players in there. As the puck is scaled out of play, we'll have a face-off at center ice.
You know, I wasn't sure if they were double shifting Hadar or they're just going down to 3 lines. I saw him out there again and didn't realize until you said he never left the ice at all.
No, he and Gamache were out there the entire time.
Let's see who the Admirals. Hadar's line just came back to the bench. I wonder if they will get the last shift going out there.
Well, they don't seem too out of breath down there on the Admirals bench. The Sarban Knights certainly fresh. 1:18 the time remaining, as you see here in the third period. And there you see the vitals. This game all tied up at 1. Mark Giordano scored on the power play at 1:54. And the reply came from Greg Clausen at 7:18 on yet another power play.
You know, the ideal shift, one shift would be 40 seconds, and I swear Hadar was out there double that.
Yeah, that had to be a 2-minute shift, it seemed. German pursued by Durno, laid it off the glass, knocked down by Zanin, who then put the pass off of Taylor, collected though by Klein and given to Zanin. Zanin is clearly the guy they want lugging the puck out of the offensive zone. Puck knocked down by Bancroft. Taylor marches it back up ice, gives off for Mackey now. Mackey inside the line, broken up, but swirls it deep. Klein to it first for Milwaukee, and he'll leave it off for Zanin, setting up behind his cage. 45 seconds to go. We're staring overtime in the face as Klein marches it up ice yet again. Durno across the line, is shot off the stick of Bancroft and to the screen. A face-off to come in the Exarban Knights end. 37.7 to go.
The nice thing about overtime, if it does go to overtime, we don't have to wait around very long. It's about a minute break, and the boys are right back out there for 4-on-4 hockey. And if that doesn't produce a winner, then another 1-minute break and they go to the shootout. So they don't waste any time.
Well, in a shootout we have not enjoyed here on Cox this year.
You're right.
So, hey, let's get after it. Of course, again, as we said, Milwaukee would like to get to the shootout. For the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights, it doesn't set up very well. Their record in the shootout's 3-8. Milwaukee has won as often as they've lost in the shootout. They've gone 5-5. A lot of hockey to be played before we even have to worry about a shootout. 24 seconds. The Knights want to get it out of their own zone, but they can't clear it out. Klein holds, fires that one off a leg and to the near side. This time Nystrom will take over. Eric Nystrom moves it on for A.J. Baines, just 12 to go. Baines around Pivko down the far side, swept away from him, following his Regier, just nudged along. The puck was bouncing on him. He could have taken a shot, but probably would not have gotten much on it. Here's Nystrom set up for a backhander out of the corner. A great play by McDonald as the horn sounds. And we go this tie game nearly all the way until the end, and Eric Nystrom should probably have a hat trick right about now.
I tell you, if the puck wasn't bouncing around as much, I mean, all of a sudden out of nowhere he finds himself in front of the net with the puck, just he and the goaltender, and never really got a clean shot off on goal. But boy, I tell you, the last 3 seconds of this game was as exciting as any of the others.
Well, in that third period, we talked about how we weren't going to see a lot of whistles. Let's take a look at this.
He just jumps out in front, and the puck never settles down. He gets a weak backhander off, and not much of a tester. But you know what? You got a shot.
And right there, I'm sure Eric Nystrom was wishing he was a right-handed shot to be able to try and one-time that, because taking it on his backhand with the bounce had to settle it down a little bit. So as we said, in overtime, I misspoke earlier. I said Milwaukee's record in the shootout was 5-5. That's their record in the overtime frame. They're actually 6-2 in the shootout, which is why the Knights don't want to get that far. For the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights, with games decided in the overtime, they're 1-2. And they picked up their first overtime win here in their first game of the month, a 3-2 victory over the Manitoba Moose.
Yeah, they really struggled early. I think they led the league in shootout losses early on, and they haven't been involved in as many, but boy, I mean, remember the first 2-3 months of the season, they seemed like every other game was going to a shootout. A lot of them were here.
What's remarkable is that the team that leads in that category is the Hershey Bears, who have come up and caught the Ak-Sar-Ben Knights. They lost in a shootout last night. They now have 10. This is from a team that's won 38 games and has earned 89 points this year. But they haven't done much of it by way of the shootout. So 5 minutes, sudden death, 4-on-4. The first team to score in this frame, and the game is over. And Joe, no question about it, who Milwaukee's coach Claude Noel was going to start out there. It's Gamache and Hadar up front. Klein looking to begin. And there is Gamache. To Lutz moving in. Taken out by Giordano. Regier will get it back up the near side, and Lutz, who had been engaged with Giordano, not there to play the puck. He does now in his own zone. German after him. Here is Gamache. Hard pass, rinked wide. Good job by Lutz to glove it down in traffic. And played on back. 40 seconds gone here in the overtime. Hadar for Klein. Klein gliding in and then backhanding deep. Hambly had it hop over his stick. Gamache trying to center. Peverly has and shoots off of Hambly and wide. It's Klein who will play back down low. Gamache trying to stagger out. He's knocked down by Steve Bancroft. Bancroft able to wriggle free and lay it up ice. It goes off of Peters. Peters will send in Prust, the forechecker. The Knights changing on the fly. The Admirals doing the same. A little more than a minute gone by. Rene got caught out of his net and knocked down. No penalty coming on that play. And finally, the whistle blows, stopping things.
I think Brandon Prust's stick got caught up in his equipment because he went either that or it was his own stick. It was Rene's own stick. We'll see a replay here, but a bad exchange behind the goal, and Rene just did not get out of the way in time. And right there, see Prust's stick gets caught up. Rene just goes for a tumble, and not real comfortable tumble either.
No, I can't imagine landing that hard on your wallet is going to feel all that good. They've got a lot of padding, but still, hey, that's got to hurt when you're 6'5", the bigger they are, right?
Yep.
Peverly checked hard by Regier along the far wall and now poked off his stick. It's chased down by Sheldon Brookbank. Peverly now the headman feed, finds Zanin moving in down the near side against Komarniski. Zanin hanging on, got it into the feet of Libor Pivko, who's then checked. The puck dragged free, and here comes Komarniski. Komarniski to the red line, gives off. Taylor will send in. The Knights changing yet again. Players going down everywhere. Pivko dropped at center ice. Not sure what that was all about. Steve Bancroft certainly isn't the guy who's probably going to clobber him. Party takes from Cron and gives on to McDonald. Swirling up with Nystrom. 2-on-4. Quick shot. McDonald saved Rene. Wanted to play it, but Nystrom was coming hard, so he covers. 2:50 to go in the overtime. Knights 1 and Admirals 1.
You know, the tough part of this when you're playing 4-on-4 hockey is if a defenseman decides to jump into the play on offense, it kind of throws everyone off kilter. It can because of the coverage of who you're supposed to have. And it's a big risk-reward thing, as you mentioned earlier. You know, if Zanin got involved in the offensive there, he got caught up ice, but fortunately for Milwaukee, nothing happened.
McDonald wins. Regier hammers shot, and that one wide. Holding on as Giordano for the tap back down low. Barry swings it up the far side. Good pinch there by Regier. And it's McDonald now able to joust it away, but right to Clausen. Greg Clausen leaves off. Klein hurries just out to center ice. Regier bides his time, waiting for McDonald to clear the zone before the puck is tossed in deep. And we're halfway through and more in overtime. The game still tied at 1 as Kevin Klein bustles in down the near side. Loins guarding him. The brakes applied. Klein now will swing around, and Hambly will track this. Around back, it's Komarniski. Komarniski's pass, knocked down. Loins was there, but lost it. Komarniski will follow. Loins joining. Komarniski in, backhand shot, save, rebound, score! It's Zenith Komarniski on the follow-up, able to ram that one home. The Knights win in overtime, 2-1.
Komarniski got involved in the play on offense. He was the only one there to lug the puck through the neutral zone, and he created the play. He eventually shot, got on goal, and he was there following up on the rebound, shoveling it home past Rene. Here we're going to see it on the replay. Here's Zenith taking a backhander on goal, and once again he didn't handle it. I'm not sure if that was Pruss going to the net, but there's Komarniski right there, banging it home.
That Milwaukee defenseman, I'm not sure who it was, lost his stick on the play, and Komarniski took advantage of that. And Joe, watching the celebration for the Exarban Knights on the ice, boy, you'd think they just won the Calder Cup. They know how big this game was.
Yeah, they really do. You know, they didn't want to see their 4-game winning streak come to an end, and this is a great way to do it against just a quality opponent. And hey, typical playoff hockey, and if this is how the Knights are going to play, man, they're going to have success if they make it into the playoffs.
Well, Milwaukee earns 1 point in this overtime loss, but the Knights earn 2 very important points and now have picked that lead up over Iowa to 5 points yet again. 2-1 is our final tonight in overtime, and this game, you know, it was one for the patient. It was one for the patient out there, and it's the kind of game you are going to have to play down the stretch.
Yeah, you know, it's not going to be. You're not going to see 7 to 6 games at this stage of the season. Coaches don't want to see that. The fans may want to see it, but coaches want some consistency in the way their teams play. And Claude Noel, Milwaukee's coach, and Ryan McGill, Omaha's coach, probably have to be extremely pleased. Of course, Noel not as much as McGill, but you know what? Good indication of how playoff hockey is going to be played here.
Well, I'll tell you what's a lot of fun too, Joe, is the fact that the Exarban Knights and Admirals are going to go at it again on Monday.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the thing about the way everything is set up in the American Hockey League, especially for the Exarban Knights, is that they're playing their division brethren all the time, and the rivalries really get cranked up.
Yeah, it really does. You know, don't forget, at the beginning of the season, people were anticipating a big rivalry between Iowa and Omaha, and you know what? Sure enough, those two teams are going to be battling for the last playoff spot, and they have 1 game left. It's here, and should be pretty good. Should be a good stretch run for both teams.
We will be back to the Civic with just a bit more in a moment. The Exarban Knights in overtime beat the Milwaukee Admirals 2-1.
Performance Performance Toyota Scion, Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge, and Performance Volkswagen, all at one convenient location. The Performance Auto Plaza off I-80 in Harrison. Over 20 acres of new and used Toyotas, Scions, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Volkswagens, and more. All at the Performance Auto Plaza, I-80 in Harrison. 3 great dealerships, one convenient location.
Performance, driven to be the best.
The Performance Auto Plaza, just off I-80 in Harrison.
It's another year of awards for Cox High-Speed Internet. From J.D. Power and Associates, the highest in customer satisfaction among high-speed internet service providers. From PC Magazine, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. From the Daily Nonpareil, the Reader's Choice Award 3 years in a row. And from Omaha Magazine, the Best of Omaha for high-speed internet providers 2 years in a row. We'd like to thank our customers. Your satisfaction is our biggest award.
The Omaha Exarban Knights have now won 5 straight, matching their season high. In overtime tonight, they beat the Milwaukee Admirals 2-1. Let's go downstairs. Tori Pantalian is standing by with the hero of tonight's game.
And that's right, Dave. This young man sent this Civic Auditorium crowd home happy. Of course, Zenith Komarniski and Z, I'll tell you, man, this is probably one of the hardest fought hockey games I've seen.
I've never seen our forwards battle so hard down in the opposing team's end all year. They were just throwing their bodies in front of everything and really grinding out on the walls, and I'm glad it paid off.
Well, you know, on the game-winning play, I mean, a lot of times people feel that the guy who gets the winning goal is in the right place at the right time, but you guys were fighting hard all night long. Take us through the sequence that got you to that winning goal.
Well, I mean, the first period was it was a well-played game by both teams, and it was a chess match throughout the second, and both teams were just giving it to each other. I mean, as D-men, we were getting pounded by their forwards, and their D were getting pounded by our forwards. So it was two teams trading blows, so to speak. And then it came around the third period, and again, it's a stellar play by both teams, and we forced it to go in overtime. And this was just a broken play that I just overexerted myself and took a shot on it and got my own rebound. So just pretty much a lucky play.
Well, you got a great winning streak going. Not a bad time of year to start to ramp it up, huh?
Yeah, this is a good time for us to keep things rolling. It's important that we get these points because it's such a tight race for our playoff spots.
All right, Z, thanks a lot and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Joe, Dave, back to you.
Tori, thanks so much. And Zenith Komarniski, one of those guys who is going to have to chip in for the Knights to be successful. He does it here tonight on just a terrific individual effort.
You know, he's been a stable player for the Knights most of the season. Richie Reguer, Mark Giordano get most of the headlines, but you know, tonight you saw Zenith get involved in the offense a lot more than he usually has in the past, and tonight he got the game winner.
Well, Joe, our final stats for the game brought to us by Farmhouse Cafe and Bakery, the official caterer of Cox Sports, located at 84th and Grover. The Exarban Knights with a 32-19 shot advantage, and going down the stretch, it was an 8-6 shot advantage in the third, 11-7 in the second. They won every period, and overtime was the big one. Outshot them 3-0 with the final shot coming from Komarniski.
Yeah, they really did. It's you know, overtime's like we mentioned before, is risk reward, and Komarniski got involved in the play offensively, and you know, it really paid off. But just a big win emotionally, and what it did for the Knights in the standings.
Well, the Exarban Knights picking up the win, number 32 on the year. We are back to recap things one final time from the Civic Auditorium. Stay with us. You're watching Exarban Knights hockey right here on Cox.
Home, less money.
Zenith Komarniski's 5th goal of the season is a big one indeed. The Exarban Knights beat the Milwaukee Admirals 2-1 in overtime tonight at the Civic Auditorium, and they run their winning streak to 5 games, tying a season high. Well, the Exarban Knights are saving their, I guess, most exciting and most interesting hockey here for the end of the year. Now, with just 13 games to go in the regular season, what more can we expect from this team?
I don't know. I think Ryan McGill and Scott Allen want consistency from their team, and you know, the last month and a half, that's exactly what they've gotten, and this game was no different, I think, than the games that they've been playing since the month of February started. They're just a hot team. They're doing all the little things right, and they're getting great goaltending. You know what? That's just going to create a lot of wins.
It is remarkable that this team that was so full of rookies at the beginning of the year has found a way to come together at this time of year when the hockey is most difficult to play. And Joe, we talked about it before. A message is being sent to the rest of the, not only the West Division, but the Western Conference, that these guys are going to be a tough playoff opponent.
Yeah, they are. I think maybe the Knights are still under the radar a little bit because they're, 6 games over 500. They don't have the record of Milwaukee or Houston, but still people in the league know that they're legit.
Well, this has been one heck of a ride for the Omaha Exarban Knights. They will go to Milwaukee and finish off this home-and-home series on Monday, and then come back here for some very tough games. Houston on Thursday, Peoria coming up on Saturday. And Joe, when you're looking at that kind of competition coming at you, you know you're going to get the best that the American Hockey League has to offer.
Yeah, they have. And, this division is very good. Record-wise, everyone's a strong team. There are no easy nights. As Houston found out tonight in San Antonio, they lost in San Antonio. But, the division is what it is, and it's quality hockey. They've gone out east and done very, very well against some of the Eastern Division teams.
Well, there's always opportunities to earn points, and as we noted, Milwaukee with the overtime loss earning 1. They're now 3 points away from Houston in that top spot in the West Division. More importantly, the Knights now have the advantage on the Iowa Stars, now a 6-point advantage in that race as well. That will do it for our broadcast tonight here from the Civic Auditorium. Carl Maloney was our producer. For our entire crew, for Joe Clark and Tori Pantalian, I'm Dave Aller saying thanks so much for being with us. One more time, the final score in overtime. It's the Exarban Knights beating the Milwaukee Admirals 2-1. You've been watching Exarban Knights hockey right here on Cox.